I do wonder, and I would love to hear about this from your perspective because you come from rural America. Why do you think liberals are so trusting of institutions? Like, I'm still really trying to understand.
Because they're liberals. They're liberals, so that's their nature, to trust the institution and uphold the status quo. They're not interested in actually abolishing capitalism. They pretend that they want to reform capitalism, but at the end of the day, they're not really looking to implement real change because they're just as bought and sold as the Republicans. I think liberalism is just a nice, shiny little badge of honor that they wear because it makes them the better of the two evils, and they really pride themselves on that. It's the only way that they can make a distinction from their set of ideals, is that they celebrate Pride Month, and they're
therein lies the rub, because guess what? They're not better. And the reason they're not better is because the sympathy that I have towards conservatives, not deep South conservatives, but, rural conservatives, Great Plains conservatives, they come from states where, the church is the center of the community. Education is completely depleted. And they believe what they feel, is within the confines of what they understand. Liberals, on the other hand, tend to be people that come from the suburbs or big cities. They tend to not just be educated, they tend to be overeducated. And they tend to believe that they are always the smartest person in the room. And yet very often they are the most naive person in the room. And sometimes they're the dumbest person in the room. And being so completely out of touch with reality is a very scary thought. And I have members of my family that are like that. And even if I try to explain to them the realities of what's around us, they're very content to just kind of live in that bubble and think that, I'll put the, like that sign that I saw all over different, liberal cities, where they talk about like, we're anti-racist and we're Black Lives Matter and this and that. And it's like, but don't move on our street. And don't break down don't break down our property values. Don't go to our schools. We're just trying to signal to you, we don't actually want to help you if it's going to affect our ability to live at this level of society. Don't even think about trying to even it out. You can't do that.
I think that's where... Was that?
No, go ahead.
There's a little bit of arrogance that you will see in a liberal's repertoire whenever they're discussing politics and inevitably rubbing everybody the wrong way with their limited scope of understanding, but their confidence in what they believe is right and true and correct. And that's where I think it's really frustrating to even entertain the idea of giving liberals a little bit more time to learn and broaden their horizons, because they almost seem as though they are content with their limited information, kind of like it's ignorance is bliss type thing. When if they were forced to recognize their own blind spots, then there would be nothing standing in the way of labeling them a bigot instead of a woke, better of two evil type of identity politics lover that gives them the power to pretend like they're a better version of Republicans. And that's really what they want to maintain. They don't want to actually fight for change. They don't want to let go of the power that they hold. I think they recognize their class positioning and that they are elevated a little higher than the rest of the working class and the working poor. And in terms of their decisions that they make when it comes to whether or not they do allow that affordable housing complex to be built, they vote in the same way that a conservative would vote. Not in my backyard. So you're correct in that liberals are much more inclined to support conservative movements that continue to benefit them, pretend like they don't understand what they're doing, and that gives them the feeling that they are better than the Republicans when they're not. And I don't know if that's necessarily lost on them. I think that they choose to be ignorant to their blind spots in many ways, if that makes sense.
I think they know the score. I really do. And the reason I say that is because of the way that the economy has changed in the favor of globalized neoliberalism. So we live in a world today where the tangible qualities of real wealth building, and I'm not talking about wealth building from a private equity firm. I'm talking about wealth building from a small business entrepreneur, a person who learns a trade and is able to do something. It could be, a masonry business. It could be, a plumbing service. It could be anything, but anything that requires you to go to a trade school, which trade school should be tuition free, just like public college, state college should be tuition free. If people want to learn a trade, if they want to learn how to be an electrician, there's a lot of things that we can have in this society that would allow people to have these advantages. The problem with a lot of the liberal society and the way they look at it is the people we're dealing with are not people that are tradespeople. They're people who work in private equity. They're people who work in the insurance and pharma industry.
Yeah, like PMCs, like professional managerial class.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that really is. That doesn't get talked about enough, is the way that the economy has been skewed so heavily towards private equity, towards non-tangible usage in society. This is one of the things that Andrew Yang was absolutely correct about in terms of automation, because day in and day out, you have more and more people that are not being trained in industries where they can be absolutely useful. I mean, California is a great example of a state that should absolutely have high-speed rail running along the Pacific Coast Highway. It frankly can go all the way up to Seattle or Vancouver if you really wanted it to. And Lord knows that would help significantly, economically speaking. But no, why would we have that when that could potentially take away from somebody who is in that liberal class, who invests in the very corporations, whether it is BlackRock or the like, that it's all about the shareholders. It's all about the stock value continuing to go up. I always say, if a stock price is going up, it means a worker's getting screwed. And more and more and more. I don't invest in the stock market. And frankly, the people who do invest in the stock market have to know at this point that if you're investing in the stock market and the stock is doing well on a publicly traded corporation, odds are they are subjugating their workforce in a way that you can't even begin to understand.
Or do they want to? Yeah.
Oh, they want to turn a blind eye. They don't want to know. They want to know that people who work at Amazon are literally pissing and shitting in their britches because they can't go to the bathroom because they're on a clock. And when they know, I mean, think about that. I mean, to me, that is as much as anything. The only time I ever get anything from Amazon, if I ever have to, a handful of times out of the year, is if it's the only place I can go to get what I need. That's it.
You're a better man than I am, because I order it far too often than I care to admit, but
if you can shop small and buy local, you do what you can. I don't know what kind of farmers markets and local shops that they even have in LA. I mean, it's been a couple of years since I've been there, but it's just tough. It's tough everywhere you look.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics,
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi, Red Wine Terrorist. Welcome. It's been a while. Yeah, I am muted. I am muted. uh, I look pretty orange. I don't know why, but I can't. I mean, I guess I could. Properties. Color correction. Okay, I'm fixing a little, but not much. But yeah. Okay. Hi everyone, welcome. Okay, so um, um, I yesterday I was going through some of the. I was going through the Discord and I was like looking at some of the videos everyone has been recommending since a year ago. I mean, more accurately, like since 2 years ago. And I thought this Vicky 1999, yeah, 1999 video about West Germany or Eastern Germany, or I guess Western Germany. Well, comparing both Germanys, and I like what the guy said, but I hated him. Is this how you feel about all white colonialists? Oh my god. I mean, I watched that video earlier today just because Amy was being interviewed, and I just thought her just say yes. I mean, yeah. But I just watched it because of Amy, and I thought I would just play it in at the start of the video because she was just shitting on liberals. But yeah. um, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, I saw that video about like Western and Eastern Germany, and I wanted to go into it, but also I watched this the last. I'm pretty sure it's the last video that they published, but I'm not sure. It was but I would not spare him. Oh my god. Yeah, it's the last video that Breakthrough News posted about Israel, and I don't typically talk about like topics that I think the take to have is pretty obvious. I don't really, like I feel like there are other people who have more in-depth knowledge and analysis than me when explaining international issues. Like I am pretty aware of like, Israel bad, um, Nazis bad, Free Palestine, Israel is a apartheid state, etc., etc. But this breakthrough news video covered like a lot of things that were new for me, like learning about how deeply shady Israel has been its own existence. I mean, the own existence of Israel is pretty fucked up in itself, but you know. And so yeah, then I wanted to watch this boy video about Ukraine that they posted 9 months ago. So like around the peak of the Russian special military um, not mission, but what was it called? It was a special military operation. And lastly, and then I wanted to watch the Western video, and lastly, I wanted to watch this new Second Thought video that hasn't come out yet. Yeah, Special Operation. That is about American patriotism, and we all know JT. Oh my god. I will pretend you didn't say that, Tony. I love you. Hi, welcome. But we don't stand fragile white people who call abusers, people who give them mild criticisms. So yeah, I'm not going to get into the tea, but we don't like fragile white people. I cannot say man because I'm pretty sure they are non-binary, allegedly. But yeah. Whatever. Less said the better, unfortunately. True. Also, hi Bagogi, welcome. But yeah, I wanted to watch the new JT video because I haven't watched a Second Thought video in such a fucking long time just because I'm over like baby leftist content. But I wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to watch this one in particular because it's talking about like American patriotism specifically. And yeah, but yeah. Also, if anyone wants to know the tea, you can write me on Discord. I know I have all the receipts because people gaslight me about this shit, and then I have to be like, oh, you think it's a fucking lie what I'm telling you, and then I drop all the links, and everyone it's like, okay, maybe you are right. Yeah, I will not gaslight you anymore. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. Oh no, this is like a year or two ago, like. I mean, plus, like, look, there are people in this community who don't know the full what went down. But like they just watch that particular person and they tell me, yeah, they're a grifter, and I'm like, I'm not saying that, you are saying that, so you know, but yeah. Been unionizing on campus. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. Oh, also I've been like I wouldn't say I've been busy, but I've been like learning a lot about, well, it's kind of weird because it's not like I've been learning about what's been going on. I just like been keeping up with what's been going on in my country and all this stuff. But through keeping up with the news and shit, I've been learning about how people outside Lima organize in general, and it's been super interesting to learn how like sophisticated their like democratic communities work, and how they, like, I'm not sure if they are like full-fledged like ideologues, they're like full-blown Marxist communities, but I do know that they are very like left-leaning, unionizing, organizing shit. And so yeah, it's been interesting because at first when all the protests were going on, I was skeptical and very worried about the fact that I hope these are not just like random spur of the moment protests, but they are actually like well organized and they have a very um, they have a set goal in mind and they know what they are like fighting for and working towards and all that shit, you know. And then I learned that, oh shit, these people actually know what they are doing. They're organizing. They have their own systems of survival under this colonial rule, you know. So yeah, it's been very eye-opening and very empowering, inspirational. But yeah, gotta be a ton of indigenous perspective in that approach, right? Yes and no, but yes. It's weird because like there are a lot of indigenous groups in the groups that I'm talking about, but I haven't done I have managed to learn like more or less the greater structures that they have, but I don't know anything too in depth to know or to trace back like how like if they have a like Incas form of structure or organizing, you know. But yeah, there is a lot of indigenous groups. But yes, I mean, you know, it's complicated. Okay, I mean, it is weird because like I feel like sometimes when I think of indigenous people in Peru, I straight up think of Incas, and that is not necessarily. And I mean, I guess that is not true of here, because there are peasants who count as indigenous people because they are indigenous people, but it's not like they are like. This is complicated. Because like they talk Quechua, but I don't know, colonization fucks you over. I will stop talking because I don't know enough. So yeah. my whiteness is coming out. I mean, I don't know the communities work down there, just figured there might be some like flavors of it. I mean, yeah, like I'm just going to say yes and move on. uh Part of it is the work of Western scholarship and anthropologists to just colonize our shit. They're homogenized nations of people. Yes, and like how there are some indigenous like nations or groups that have like their own like protected by international things that are like protected spaces of indigenous people that they are not touched at all in Peru. So that's like one type of groups of indigenous people, right? But there are other groups of indigenous people that like speak Quechua and stuff, but they are still like part of the capitalist system working in the country, and it's like they are not the same kind of indigenous people, if you know what I mean. So it's like weird to be like to call both of them indigenous like they are the same when they are not. So I don't know how to speak about these issues without like without first without having enough in-depth knowledge about all of these new ones, and second without like oh I don't know how to speak about like we with the best and most accurate language, you know? But yeah. We got the same kind of thing here too. Yeah, so it's like, you know, and it's even worse because like uh I still am like decolonizing my mind and like rejecting the stereotypes of what indigenous people look like. You know what I mean? So that plus me still being quite ignorant, and on top of that, like translating like from Quechua Spanish to English, and still being aware of the US slash English understanding of how these divisions work, like me doing all the translation, like kind of almost back and forward in my mind, it kind of makes everything more complicated. So I would rather just like have everything super clear first in Spanish, having the proper Quechua references, so then I can properly translate everything to English and be able to talk about it, you know? Because even then, like sometimes I will see like people, like Peruvian political analysts going on English speaking shows, and in those moments, it's like easier to just say like there are indigenous groups because there are, you know, but when I'm just talking with my audience and I want to get like more in depth into the intricacies of these movements, like that is just knowledge that I just don't have, and I would rather have a proper and more precise language to talk about that rather than just say indigenous people. You know what I mean? So yeah. Thank you. Because all streamers are grifters. Oh my god. Uh, I bet I drew it and you stole it. Oh my god, I literally painted that, but it is kind of horrible. Like from afar, it looks like nice. From here, it is. Mm, yeah, maybe you wouldn't say, you wouldn't want to look at it, you know. Paddington was a servile bear, only fit to serve white people. Toast marmalade on the train during. Oh my god. You know what's wild? I knew of the existence of Paddington, but I didn't know of Paddington really. And when I learned about Paddington, it was because there was a live action movie that came out, and I was like, "Oh, that's a bear." And then like a year or two after that live action movie came out, someone told me that Paddington is supposed to be Peruvian, and I'm like, okay, but like, is he ever in Peru? And they told me no, he's only in London slash the UK, and I'm like, I mean, I guess it's fine. It feels a bit like kind of tokenizing, almost. Uh, oh yeah, we're going to make this bear Latino for the sake of it, even though, like, I don't know the extent to which Paddington has culture at all, you know. But I'm like, that's the thing, you know. So yeah. Also, I haven't ever watched Paddington, any media of Paddington. I just know he's a bear with a yellow coat sometimes, and that's it. You know? So, yeah. Yes. From here, oh my god. But so did my first love. Oh my god. I got you in 100 feet, so it looks amazing to me. From Darkest Peru, so racist, right? Oh my god. I thought that was an English bear. No, it's supposed to be Peruvian. Like, I literally have no fucking clue. Like, literally, where is Paddington Bear from? And it says Peru. And like the worst thing, like there's so many layers of how fucked up this is. Cause like we have like a couple of Paddington statues like throughout Peru, which is like, why? You know, like, why? But like, why? Like, I don't like it would make sense if Paddington was like known by all Peruvians. Do you know what I mean? But like, it's not. It's just not. And so I'm like, this feels very like British people wanted to make this character and make this character exotic. So let's say that he's from, ooh, let's pick a country in South America. We cannot pick Argentina because fuck Argentinians and we want those islands, even though they're Argentinian. And Brazil, ooh, Brazil, no, that's too common. Oh my god, what's next to Brazil? Oh yeah, Peru. Oh my god, yeah, let's make Paddington Peruvian, yes. And that's how Paddington is from Peru, like literally. Hello, you know, but yeah. Also, hi Sam, welcome. But yeah, I literally, whatever. I just know that when Twitter account inserts Paddington into other shows, I mean, we stand, you know, inserting everything you like into other media, but yeah. We were at war too recently with Argentina. Brazil has money. Who has no money ain't cheap. Peru and marmalade is how it went. Oh my god. I feel kind of insulted. But also, we stand. We stand being poor. Um, definitely doesn't have adobo. Look, okay. I have talked about this a couple of times, but like adobo is just like a technique of cooking that came from Spain. And because Spain colonized literally the entirety of the American continent, like literally from the US, literally from like Washington State to Argentina, like people don't fucking realize this. America. Spain fucking colonized from here, literally. It's not Oregon. What's north of California? I don't care. Like from here to here, hello, the entirety of the continent. And so throughout all of these parts, because the US doesn't have culture, through Mexico to Argentina, there are different types of adobo, and adobo literally means searing. And so when you say adobo, it's just a type of meat seared with special condiments. But if you say that to any other Latino, they will probably kill you. So, yeah, but that's the reality of adobo. And I once told that to a friend and she almost killed me. So I'm warning you, but also I'm not wrong though. So yeah. uh we spared the Spanish, got stuck with the French, Brits, and Americans. Correction. Spain taught the world to cook, UK colonized and butchered, France did a bit of both. True. Washington. Really? Like the seasoning? Look. I'm not getting into it. Wait, really? Isn't there like a state? US map. Isn't there a state between... See, there's a state between California and Washington. I was like, there's a state between California and Washington? Me knowing the Oregon. I was like, it's all made up. I mean, it's literally everything's made up. Everything's a social construct. I mean, literally, but whatever. We're not going to get into it. For real though, I mean, yeah. The spicy state. When salt is spicy to white people. I love it. Okay. But yeah, okay, so today I wanted to talk about like the various countries that you can see in the title down there. We're going to be talking about how horrible, how truly mind-blowingly fucked up Israel is. Like, we all knew Israel bad, right? But like, I didn't know Israel literally overtly fascistic. In an international stage so openly that it's almost comical how like openly white supremacist the state of Israel has been historically, and people are still willing to support this shit. You know? So yeah, let's start with Israel because why not? Okay. Right now, oh my god.
That anti-Semitism is on the rise. From the Unite the Right rally in there's no doubt that anti-Semitism is on the rise. From the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where white supremacists chanted "Jews will not replace us," to the emergence of the Great Replacement theory, Jewish people are once again finding themselves being scapegoated for the problems of an empire in crisis. Now, you might...
And okay, it is wild because I would like to know like the history of Jewish people. Like, I know there are like pockets throughout Europe where Jewish people came from. Like, there are some Jewish people that are from like between Spain and France area, and others from Germany, and others that are from more from like I think more from the ex-Yugoslav countries, or like there is one other part, I think it was Sweden, I don't know, whatever. Either way, I would like to know like more in depth of that Jewish history, and also I would like to know how like Jewish people, well, not all, but like some Jewish people came into money. You know what I mean? Because like it's like weird to talk about this, because like I feel like it almost falls into anti-Semitism and perpetuating like anti-Semitic stereotypes, and I'm really trying not to, but there is no other way for me to say it. But it's like there were rich Jewish people. That doesn't mean that they were controlling the world. I'm just saying it happened that there were some Jewish people that happened to be rich, and I want to know how they came like with money in those cases. Yeah. I'm scared. It's like, yeah. Scattered. Everyone else scattered. I was mortified, but what else? Wait, what happened? Okay, the worst thing during COVID was that a long time, I mean, nearly OG Antifa started spouting pro-Zionist shit, and because he suffers from giganticism, I was the only one brave enough to tell him to fuck off. Interesting. Interesting. Everyone else scattered, and I was mortified, but whatever. Interesting. Glad you're here, doing all right. Interesting. Okay, but yeah, I just wanted to learn history. Okay, let's continue.
I think that the rise of openly fascist movements around the world would be of the highest concern to groups fighting anti-Jewish hate. But at the Anti-Defamation League's annual conference on anti-Semitism, there was only one subject up for discussion: how to crush the movement for the liberation of Palestine. For over a century, the Anti-Defamation League has cultivated its reputation as the premier organization dealing with matters of anti-Semitism and is almost always brought in to judge its alleged incidents. In one analysis, researchers found that the ADL was mentioned in 2/3 of 46,000 articles mentioning white nationalism from 2018 to 2019. Despite the ADL's reputation in the media as an infallible anti-racist organization, the ADL has long been accused of selectively deploying accusations of anti-Semitism and being purveyors of anti-Black and anti-Palestinian racism themselves. And that's exactly what I saw at the ADL's annual anti-Semitism conference, Never Is Now, held in New York City. The conference began with a few speeches speaking generally about the evils of anti-Semitism, but within a half hour or so, the conference moved on to the real issue at hand. Under the guise of morphing threats of anti-Semitism, ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt began laying out a picture of a world fully gripped by the forces of anti-Semitism. A world where, wait for it, Ben & Jerry's would no longer sell ice cream to Israeli settlers.
Brands like Ben & Jerry's, who knew when they announced that they would not sell ice cream in the West Bank, it effectively would end their presence in all of Israel.
The real hate crime is when no ice cream. Hate crime is when company stops selling you ice cream. Great. These are the people in charge. And people wonder why workers are angry.
If you're scratching your head right now, I don't really blame you. When most people think of the morphing threat of anti-Semitism, they're usually not talking about Cherry Garcia. So what does this have to do with anti-Semitism? Well, it all comes down to how you define anti-Semitism. Most people would say anti-Semitism is the hatred of Jewish people. This would include acts of violence, threats, slurs, and...
Oh, okay. This is something I wanted to look up because, like, when I was learning about anti-Semitism in school, it meant, like, hate towards, like, a particular religion or semi, but in English is described as specifically towards Jewish people, and I think that is interesting. So yeah. Also, hi Dorian, welcome. Oh yeah, I also added like a lot of new emotes with BTTB because I saw that it now allows you to have like 50 slots. So I added a lot of gay. Yes.
racist tropes. But for decades, the ADL has desperately tried to attach another article onto the definition of anti-Semitism: criticism of the state of Israel. Ben & Jerry's, according to the ADL, is anti-Semitic because they took up a call from Palestinians to boycott Israel for its human rights abuses. In fact, the entire focus of the conference was...
I don't get how supporting Palestinians is anti-Semitic since they are literally Semitic.
not
Literally.
identifying or confronting far-right groups and ideologies, but instead legitimizing this pro-Israel definition of anti-Semitism. Nearly half the
It's mostly
panel
used for Jewish people specifically. Oh my god. Hi, Marcus. Hi, Left Flank Bets. Welcome, Raiders. Actually, I don't know if you can see me. Hi. I'm Seps. I'm a communist. We're talking about how horrible Israel is because I watched this interview. This it's not an interview. What is it called? Like press note? Something along those lines. This video about how shitty Israel is, and I was honestly mind blown how overtly white supremacist the state of Israel has historically been. But yeah. I knew you were calling folks who love their mom weird. I'm not sure why Marcus was calling. It's not a press conference. It's it's not the press conference that we're watching. We're watching like a news report about how shitty Israel is. Yes. Also, why are you telling people that they are bad for loving their moms? But I gleam at you were calling folks who love their mom. Why are people who love their moms weird? I don't even know if I want to know. Interesting. Also, hi Subversive History, welcome. It's a troubled person. Look, I mean, true. Dudes who buy their moms. Okay, that is weird. Okay, like, I know there are people who want to, like, rebrand Valentine's Day into, like, oh my god, it's about, like, friendship and any type of love. And I'm like, I mean, sure, you can think that it's that, but, like, we know that capitalism has made it a very romantic couple amatonormative holiday. So yeah. Also, thank you for all the follows. Click my profile picture twice to make your view count. But yeah. But if you are that guy by Wilco's candles, I'm so confused. But yeah. Hi. Okay. We can restart the video, but yeah.
There's no doubt that anti-Semitism is on the rise. From the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where white supremacists chanted, "Jews will not replace us," to the emergence of the...
For your boss, okay, subversive history. I don't know if you're Pat or Johnny, either way. No, thank you. I don't support owned businesses. So, I don't support businesses with an owner, with any owner that is not the state, as long as the state is socialist. So yeah. Oh, okay, interesting. Now I know. Oh my god, hi Finchan, welcome. Okay. So yeah, I don't support any businesses owned by any people.
Great replacement.
What about a one-man company? Look, now we're getting into philosophical, existential questions. You know? And this is honestly something I think about daily, about like, okay, but if a company, if you have a small company owned
Sorry,
by
that was
like...
a real soapbox.
No, oh
Why
my
did I
God,
say
it's-
I'm
sorry?
gonna cry. Wait, why do I have...
нижнее подчеркивание
I'm so
challenge
confused.
just subscribe.
Okay, what's happening? I'm literally... You
Maybe
literally...
if your fat cock wasn't so deep down my throat, it'd block out the sun.
Red нижнее подчеркивание Vine нижнее подчеркивание terrorist has gifted 5 subs to 5 of tier ifing friends. For FUCKSSAKE.
Look, I'm not going to say that I have the best alert in all of Twitch, but I don't make the rules. I'm just stating facts. And Hassan is a hot individual, and when he says shit like that, I gotta clip it and make it an alert. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Also, thank you Cinnamon Challenge for resubscribing for 6 months, and thank you Red Wine Terrorist for 5 gifted subs.
I'm saying, dude, I'm saying it. Hassan is a power bottom.
And other times I say shit about Hassan and I have to clip myself. So, welcome. Also, hi, Te Quiero. Also, I don't know if your name has anything to do with Taylor Swift, but yeah. Grumps alert might make me think, what the fuck, interesting. But yeah, okay, I am kind of all over the place. Marcus, you could have waited, after the first hour so I could whatever.
Like the wise philosopher Hannah Montana once said, everybody makes mistakes.
Cinnamon нижнее подчеркивание challenge has gifted a sub to Te Quiero.
Thank you for the gifted sub, Satan. Thank you. Okay. Can we start the video? I'm like overwhelmed. But yeah. This is a hell of a pause on the beat. I know. It is a very interesting... Like, honestly, this truly encaptures what the US has become. Honestly, what the US has always been. Yeah. So let's restart.
There's no doubt that anti-Semitism is on the rise. From the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where white supremacists chanted, "Jews will not replace us,"
supported its create. Oh my god.
to the emergence.
Also, honestly, kind of homophobic that you are trying to say that Hassan talking about dicks in throats is anything negative, because we stand a throat goat. Nancy Reagan Queen, honestly, like an icon. Like Stalin who? Nancy Reagan. She was doing the most. Okay, I need to stop. Marcus is homophobic. See? Oh my god, literally, your mods are with me. Thank you, Wilco. Thank you. It's like he was fired for working at Eagle. He made them play Lil. Oh my god. Okay, that is. The layers of Marcus wanting to play Lil Wayne in a gay bar. I am almost offended, to only hate the gay people.
Like the
I
wise
know. Oh my
philosopher
god.
Hannah Montana once said,
Look.
everybody makes mistakes.
Te Quiero has gifted
Thank you,
a sub to
Quiero, for the.
93.
Thank you for the gifted sub. You can't tell me that not everyone would know the lyrics though. Look, okay, let's settle this. Me trying to learn important shit like how horrible the state of Israel is, and me making like, okay, just because people know the lyrics of a song doesn't mean that they are appropriate to be sung in some spaces. Do you know what I mean? And I know that some people here are like cisheads, disgusting. And they're like, I don't know what you mean. If you like a song, oh my god, you should play a song. No. Girl, in a gay bar, only 13 artists are allowed there. And Lil Wayne is just not one of them. And I may have never been to a gay bar, but I am kind of gay myself. I'm half gay, exactly. So you just shouldn't. And yes, Marcus, it is homophobic to hate any gay people. Even if, I mean, if that gay is fascist, I guess you could hate it, but honestly, like, I don't know, maybe that is homophobic also. Maybe, look, I think
Sorry,
you
that was a
could
real
become gay.
soapbox. Why did I say sorry?
You
Лорбриан
could.
just subscribed.
Thank you for the subscription, Librarian. Oh my god, such a genius name. I'm sorry. I couldn't fathom your name enough. Okay, Marcus, let's make a deal. You become my boyfriend, and I take away your homophobic card, and you stop being problematic. You know? It's a win-win. I get a green card. You stop being problematic. Everyone wins. And your chat agrees. So, you know, I mean, I'm a known flipper. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't, you don't. That's just how it works. But like, yeah. Okay. I need to stop. Take the deal more. You have to take the deal. They want the gay cred, take a gay dick. So yeah. Say yes to the dress. And you know what's the best part? You won't have to use a dress to, you know. Oh, you think wanting to go to the US is us? Well, the US happens to have a monopoly on Reese's Pieces because they, for some goddamn reason, stopped exporting them into Peru, and my childhood was ruined. So, yes, I do want to go to the US just for the sole reason to buy Reese's Pieces, and then I can come back to my country. Thank you. Bye. Okay. I know. I know. Like, look, the US might be a fascist country, but you'll have like the best candies ever. And you might be, oh my god, but that's so problematic. Those candies and chocolates are used with child labor from the global south. And I'll say, I am from the global south. I am that child working. So I should. I'll stop. I'll stop. Uh, uh, Candy Independent. Want to go to Mar-a-Lago? Oh my god, stop. I can just mail you one. Don't lose your healthcare, Chile. Oh my god. Okay. There is a wild thing I learned, like entering into like Twitch politics. Like having healthcare is such a fucking privilege, apparently. Like the other day I was I went to have like a full checkup. I spent like $15 total, and I posted something on Twitter about it, and a friend replied to me saying I literally paid $150 for less than what you got, and I was like, the US is just not a real country. Also, I know some people are saying that I'm from Chile, and that is borderline racism. At least, like, one, you didn't say that I'm Mexican, so you have extra points. But two, saying that you are from Chile when you are not, it's almost worse than saying that you are from Mexico. So, okay. Also, thank you for everyone who subscribed and shared. Yeah. In translation moment. Well, maybe you should never dare to speak such offensive words like Chile in this. Sorry, if someone is not aware, like there is like this historically justified, unjustified, very justified hate of the entirety of Latin America towards Chile because they are just weird. And so anytime I see the word Chile, I just get like instinctually triggered. So yeah. Okay. I was like, why are you talking about that country? Oh my god. God. But yeah. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Girly Bird, for the follow. Thank you, Brian, for the sub. Thank you, Te Quiero, for. I was literally turning into Spanish. Thank you for the gift sub to Wilco. Thank you, Sinchan, for the gift sub to Te Quiero. Thank you, Red Wine, for the 5 gifted subs. And yeah. This is why Americans can't be friends. They are just looking to take over new big rock. I literally almost read Big Cock Candy, and I was like, rock, got it. But yeah. Okay, let's start this video for the 4th time. Because Marcus couldn't wait a little more. Okay.
There's no doubt that anti-Semitism is on the rise. From the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where white supremacists chanted, "Jews will not replace us."
Also, hi Lepenefe. Welcome. I know you're Chilean, but also you know what I said is true. Regardless, I love you.
To the emergence of the Great Replacement theory, Jewish people are once again finding themselves being scapegoated for the problems of an empire in crisis. Now, you might think that the rise of openly fascist movements around the world would be of the highest concern to...
Also, the hatred towards Chile is a joke. Like, even though Peru has and Bolivia have beef with Chile, and there is also a slight beef between Chile and Argentina. And I'm pretty sure Chile also has beef with Colombia, even though I'm pretty sure that's like way back in the past and doesn't matter. Like, no one really hates Chile. We just like gossip about them behind their backs. But yeah. I love you. Argentina do be sus, but Argentina, like, Argentina is like your rich friend that you can't really stand, but you know they have a pool, so you're friends with them, but it's just because they have a pool. You know what I mean? So yeah. I wouldn't say that Chile is like Florida. like we wouldn't want, like we still like Chile enough to want to keep it in our continent. Whereas Florida is so like weird, you would like to stop being, to disappear as a state. So yeah. And Argentina, like the whitest of the continent. Yeah. The best part of Argentina is that they literally think of themselves as European. And it's like constantly asking ourselves, why are we tolerating them? And then we say to each other, remember, they have the pool. And we just go with it. But yeah. In on something illegal that you're doing, but you definitely hang out with them afterwards. Yeah, like they would be your alibi without them knowing that they are your alibi. You know? It's pretty fucking awful. The establishment, I mean, look, the establishment in most countries is awful. But yeah. You know, like, it's still. Look, okay. Just because I've been talking so much shit about Chile, I'm just going to say it. I don't know, I've never seen beef with Colombians. Like in general, most hate I've seen is between us and Peruvians, and a bit with Argentina, but most like right wing thing. Yeah, like it is very like right wing, because of historical beefs. But yeah, like your normie won't like doesn't care, and you know, solidarity. Also, we like. I'm not going to get started on Chile's president, but solidarity with him when he doesn't have problematic views, but we stand. Also, he's a 50, so he basically did nothing wrong. Yes. Colonia Dignidad was absolute Nazism brought to Latin America 4 years ago. Holy fucking shit. Interesting. I know that Nazis moved into Argentina. Another reason why they have pool. But yeah. Pan South there it's not Pan South America, it's called Pan American movement. There isn't a currency, but Lula wants to develop it. Or Lula wanted to develop it before he got arrested, and I'm not sure if he still wants to, but I'm down. And since Bolivia, Colombia, I'm not sure if Chile would be down. Like I don't know if the current Chilean president would be down, but I know the Argentinian one currently, as long as they don't die, because Argentine politics be wilding. But yeah, I think most countries in South America right now would be down. I'm not sure if we would be including Central America also or the Caribbean. But yeah, I mean, obviously Venezuela also would be down. But yeah, well, and how uh he met him in with he met with Argentina. Interesting. I mean, like that's the thing. That another thing that has been happening recently is that Argentina like has been going through a lot of political turmoil, and not even because of like the own like people in power, but rather like the opposition of the people in power. Because like right now, Argentina has a left leaning, like leaning. They're not left; they're leaning. Um, and but also Argentina has a lot of reactionaries, straight up fucking Nazis in Argentina. I would even say to the level that there are Nazis in Ukraine, but I mean, arguably there are more Nazis in Argentina, but we're not going to talk about into that because there's a lot of history and blah, blah. But yeah, there's like a lot of opposition to the left-leaning people in power in Argentina, and they almost killed them twice. Um, so yeah, that's fun. And to be fair, well, not to be fair, but to more context, like Lula has always had like uh like in general Latin American or South American um heads of state have always tried to have good relationships within ourselves. Ourselves, like I'm a head of state. And so it's like nothing out of the ordinary, especially when they are left leaning. Um, but yeah. Okay. Do you think he'll be able to get it off the ground before getting carted off to prison for a third time for doing nothing wrong? I'm not sure. Because I haven't been keeping up with Lula since a little before their wannabe January 6th thing that happened in Brazil. So I'm not sure how much real opposition and how many hurdles they are already giving him as a person in power. So it is hard to tell. Also, I don't know how hard he is going to be willing to go in his current government, knowing what the right in Brazil is capable of doing, plus being aware that the right in Brazil is fully backed by the US. So I wouldn't blame him, honestly, if he just wants not to be fucking killed by the US or the CIA, you know what I mean? It would be still disappointing, but I would still understand why he doesn't want to die, you know, but yeah. International politics. We stand. I believe he said he did steal, might end up gonna fit. Yeah, that's why I'm like, you know, if he doesn't go through with it, I'm like, you know what? Fair. But yeah, like I think the initiative would have to come from either Colombia or Bolivia because they are the more right now secured in position. And even then, I would argue that Colombia is still like, because like it's not like he came to power and all of a sudden the U.S. power in Colombia disappeared. But you know, it's still like there is way more support in Colombia for the current president and it, whatever. But yeah. This is why I don't like talking about Latin American politics because then I have to go like literally country by country and then explain the histories and differences between each country. And I'm like, look, I know enough, but no, like enough to defend myself talking about this shit, but I don't know enough to like be talking at length about all of this, you know? If you don't know, it will break your brain. Colonial Dignidad was a concentration camp in the Lilac Road, block access, random manufacturing chemical in the USA was insane. Pinochet sent people there. They have to torture. Interesting. And this is like, I know what you're talking about. I didn't know the name, but like, even then, like, Pinochet is so fucking complicated because like some people think of him as left leaning, and I wouldn't describe him as a leftist, but I would rather describe him as a populist, which is like weird, which is a weird word to use because people in the left describe Pinochet as a people in the left use the word populist as a meaning you literally, oh my god, you literally, whatever. You are literally one example, Johnny. Shut up. Or it was Pat, I don't remember. But yeah, some people consider Pinochet left leaning. Like even in Argentina, they consider him left leaning, which is weird because like he had like a lot of like he like treated the Nazis in Argentina too well, but also he helped a lot of like unionization movements in Argentina, and unions supported him because he supported them. Uh, and also he like was like, if I'm not mistaken, he was also like kind of progressive in feminist and LGBTQIA plus issues, but he was also conservative in other stuff that I don't remember right now. So like Pinochet is like a mixed bag, and it's weird because like there is this like heritage of Pinochet Peron. Sorry, I'm I'm talking about Peron. Sorry, Peron in Argentina. I'm sorry. I've been calling him Pinochet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Peron in Argentina. Pinochet is the fascist from Chile. Look, they are both starting with P. Okay, it's literally the same person for me. So Peron, like as I said, he was like too friendly with fucking Nazis in Argentina. And when I say Nazis in Argentina, I mean literally Nazis that literally from after World War II traveled to Argentina and stayed there and lived in Argentina, and Peron was friendly with them. uh, so yeah, that was like weird. But he was like super useful with unions and like workers, and he was like progressive in some social issues. But he also did like some saucy stuff with some capitalists and big business on the side. So like it is very complicated, but there is also this again political heritage of Peronismo as an ideology in Argentina. So like they divide themselves in like Peronismo or anti-Peronismo, but even then within the Peronismo movement, you have like right-leaning Peronismo or left-leaning Peronismo, and even then like there are subsections within those ideologies, and it's super fucking weird and wild. And I'm like, you can just say that you like gay people and don't want to kill them. But yeah, wild. It's been an hour and I haven't even started my first video. Thank you. Madonna save us all. True. Lula should go to Florida and defeat Bolsonaro. Oh my god. Oh no, I'm not modest at all. Like I wish I knew way more. uh like they're entirely right in Chile has ties to Pinochet, but yeah, I'm sorry, I was talking about Peron. Former heads of the SS and shit. Yeah. Argentina was more complicated for sure. Great, honey. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my god.
Groups fighting. There's
so like, you know how Argentina thinks they are white people? I don't know how to something white people, Europeans, UK bad, and the UK divided Argentina. Divided Israel and Palestine.
Like the wise philosopher Hannah Montana
Thank you, Red
once
Wine
said,
Terrorist.
everybody makes mistakes.
Red нижнее подчеркивание Wine нижнее подчеркивание terrorist has gifted us up to subversive history.
Thank you, Red Wine Terrorist. So the UK divided Israel and Palestine, even though Israel should have never existed in the first place. And so Israel bad, and because Israel bad, we're going to watch this video. And this is my transition. Thank you. The truth, I never left you. Oh my god. Was that all CIA narratives? Okay. I could spend an hour of the stream explaining all the propaganda and ties to fascism of Don't Cry for Me Argentina, but I'm just going to decide not to talk about this. I will just encourage you to look for it because I've seen a couple of videos, and by a couple I mean literally 2 videos talking about this shit in YouTube, but I have read more about it. So I will just encourage you to look for it yourselves. Yeah. But also, if you don't like musical theater, I would discourage you from looking that up because you don't like happiness. But like, if you don't like musical theater, like literally, what are you doing with your life? You know? But yeah. There is one small and weird Nazi group that doesn't like Pinochet because he was a lib who sold the country and killed Chileans. Interesting. I didn't know that of NFL. But they're also very anti-communist, so they're like not half good, so more interesting than the average Nazis. Interesting. Having to watch Party at Seb's. Oh my god. It's like so weird because like I used to watch this white streamer and they liked Hamilton and they knew it was like problematic, you know, but they still liked it because of the music, but they were like a little too unapologetic about it. And months later they started abusing me on Twitter. Oh my god, fun. And yeah. So if someone likes Hamilton, sassy. Sassy as fuck actually. Yeah, fun. Okay. Could have been bullied in Oh my god. Also, like, how do I say this? Lin-Manuel Miranda is basically an FBI CIA psyop. And I'm just going to not expand further. And we're just going to watch this video, you know?
There's no doubt that anti-Semitism
and like, yeah.
Anti-Semitism is on the rise. From the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where white supremacists chanted, "Jews will not replace us," to the emergence of the Great Replacement theory, Jewish people are once again...
Like, I really just want to stress, like, I'm not even making this shit up. Like, it's not even like, oh my god, he's sassy. Oh my god, isn't it interesting that he, like, got so famous so fast? Like, no, I'm like telling you this for real. You know what I mean? But yeah.
and finding themselves being scapegoated for the problems of an empire in crisis. Now, you might think that the rise of openly fascist movements around the world would be of the highest concern to groups fighting anti-Jewish hate. But at the Anti-Defamation League's annual conference on anti-Semitism, there was only one subject up for discussion: how to crush the movement for the liberation of Palestine.
For over a century, the Anti-Defamation League has cultivated its reputation as the premier organization dealing with matters of anti-Semitism and is almost always brought in to judge its alleged incidents. In one analysis, researchers found that the ADL was mentioned in 2/3 of 46,000 articles mentioning white nationalism from 2018 to 2019. Despite the ADL's reputation in the media as an infallible anti-racist organization, the ADL has long been accused of selectively deploying accusations of anti-Semitism and being purveyors of anti-Black and anti-Palestinian racism themselves. And that's exactly what I saw at the ADL's annual anti-Semitism conference, Never Is Now, held in...
It is weird to me when, like, certain people, white people, accuse Black people of being like homophobic, racist, anti-Semitic, etc., etc. Because even though there might be Black people who are homophobic, sexist, anti-Semitic, etc., it's like Yeah, but why do you think they are like there are some black people who are like that? It's almost like they are doing it because they live in a system that promotes it, this system that happened to be created by white people, and they're almost doing it out of survival in order not to get fucking killed more, in order to assimilate the system, in order to, not stand out even more and be fucking killed, like they have historically been. So like, yeah, it's like white people. It's when U.S. people say, "Oh, China is racist against black people," and it's like, let's say that China is indeed racist against black people. Why do you think they are racist against white people? It's almost like there was this, global system called white supremacy that was perpetuated by this other thing called colonialism and imperialism, and that affected the social dynamics of the world. And that's why these other countries think that black people bad, because you, white European people, literally told them that. You literally told them that. And you literally killed them to the point where they have no option but to believe that. It's like, it's wild when US people tell me, oh my god, there's racism in the world. Oh my god, there's racism outside the US. And I'm like, yeah, there is racism and colorism and caste systems and all of that shit. You know why? Because of colonialism and white supremacy and Eurocentric beauty standards. Yeah, it's all coming from Europe actually. So when you are calling China racist, it's actually just projection. So yeah. That doesn't mean that there is not actual like racism problems in China or anywhere else, but like, that's a thing that they themselves have to deal with their own proper analysis. So yeah. Okay. That shit was there way before though. I mean, look, Johnny, I'm trying to give you a pass right now. I'm trying not to say but India though, and you're not helping my case, okay? Also, I mean, look, I'm not going to explain India right now, okay? God, I'm just going to say hashtag make India communist now and move on. His family is racist. Yeah. Oh my god. Don't even get me started with fucking Harry. I'm like, so Jewish people are never homophobic or racist? No. What are you talking about? It's how they look down their noses without it explicitly showing their underlying racism. Yeah, it's like when white leftists say that they are not racist or they are anti-racist, but also in the meantime act racistly, Not that I would ever have any sort of first-hand experience. No, I would never. White fragility? What's that? Me calling out white people and them literally just like crumbling to the ground to the point that they ban me from their streams? No, why? No.
In New York City. The conference began with a few...
When people from the US are like, oh my god, people from your country are socially conservative, and I'm like, damn. If only you could have left-wing government, that could change that, yeah.
Speeches speaking...
Literally! Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. If only Chile could have gotten our left wing. Also, hi VVH, welcome.
Generally about the evils of anti-Semitism, but within a half hour or so, the conference moved on to the real issue at hand. Under the guise of morphing threats of anti-Semitism, ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt began laying out a picture of a world fully gripped by the forces of anti-Semitism. A world where, wait for it, Ben & Jerry's would no longer sell ice cream to Israeli settlers.
Brands like Ben & Jerry's, who knew when they announced that they would not sell ice cream in the West Bank, it effectively would end their presence in all of Israel.
If you're scratching your head right now, I don't really blame you. When most people think of the morphing threat of anti-Semitism, they're usually not talking about
Anti-Semitism is when no ice cream. That is the real oppression. Not even no ice cream, no Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And honestly, as someone who has never had Ben & Jerry's ice cream, I agree.
Cherry Garcia. So what does this have to do with anti-Semitism? Well, it all comes down to how you define anti-Semitism. Most people would say anti-Semitism is the hatred of Jewish people. This would include acts of violence, threats, slurs, and racist tropes.
Oh yeah, this is something I mentioned earlier, but when I was learning about World War II, like anti-Semitism was a word used to describe like hatred towards towards a particular religion. So like anti-Semitism was like the umbrella term for like Islamophobia, hatred towards Jewish people, towards Christians even, etc. But it's interesting how in the US, or at least in the Imperial Core, it is used to specifically refer to hatred of Jewish people. And I just wanted to like mention that. But yeah. It's like they even suspended all sales to Israel. Just the went back. Yeah. Yeah. Every time a person threatens their oppressed, it's exactly this pathetic. Yes. So anti-Semitism over there was just like another word for bigotry in general. Not for bigotry, because bigotry is even like wider, but like specifically like against religious groups. Like racism is race, sexism, gender, anti-Semitism, religion. You know, like xenophobia is for countries. You know, anti-Semitism, religions. So, yeah. Religious bigotry, yeah.
But for decades, the ADL has desperately tried to attach another article onto the definition of anti-Semitism. Criticism of the state.
Yeah. The best individual picture I witnessed against capitalism was a London student that accepted every loan offered by credit cards, and he got his diploma, returned to Brazil, and told the banks to fuck off because he had bought a house and paid for his children's college. Based? Yeah. Robbing the bank? Based, actually, but also I would never promote that sort of behavior, which is very illegal. It's very illegal, so don't do that. I'm watching you. But also based. We say that because here we're ruled by the APAC. Oh my god. At the rate we're going, Palestinian existence will be anti-Semitism. Oh my god, yeah. Also, hi Dan, welcome. So like, what if they were racist against indigenous people? Would that be considered anti-Semitism over there? No, that would just be racism, I guess. Because it's not like people are not being like bigoted against indigenous people because they happen to believe in another god. People are racist towards indigenous people because they are indigenous. You know, so it would be like racism. Stop it, Chad. Don't even think
State of Israel. Ben & Jerry's, according to the ADL, is...
And this is why Stalin did nothing wrong. Okay. Okay, just kidding.
Anti-Semitic because they took up a call from Palestinians to boycott Israel.
Also, okay, my culture is called the Spanish language. Thank you. It's not my fault. Like the US or in whatever countries, anti-Semitism means just hatred of Jews. Like you don't want to use like actual proper, like not even semantics, but like how is it called? When you study the roots of words. What is it called? Etymology. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Finally, Spanish steps. Oh my god.
Israel for its human rights abuses.
Spain did nothing wrong, actually. Oh my god.
In fact, the entire focus of the conference was not identifying or confronting far-right groups and ideologies, but instead legitimizing this pro-Israel definition of anti-Semitism. Nearly half.
I mean, but that's the thing, like, the case of Israel, or like hatred against Jewish people is so interesting how it has morphed, because like how do I describe this? It's interesting that, for example, the word anti-Semitism is specifically used, like it's specifically like reserved for talking about hatred towards Jewish people, but like for example, when you're talking about hatred towards people believing in Islam, you're talking about Islamophobia. But even then, Islamophobia it's almost just racism, not even like anti-Semitism. But it's just like like covered by, like, disguised by the fact that like it's weird. Yeah, like I mean, like there is no reason for Latin Americans to have any like disgust or hatred towards Islamic people or Muslims, you know? So, but I mean, I get, like, it's not like there isn't, because yeah, it's complicated. Because like you could argue that there is still Islamophobia in our societies because there is still a lot of Western influence, and therefore like there are people who still watch like US media, and there is a lot of Islamophobia in US media, and so people just believe that all people from Western Asia are terrorists, you know? But in reality, there are not like a lot of Muslim people in Latin America in general. So like there's not like a real reason why Islamophobia would have developed here in the first place. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would yeah. You can see from the way Islamophobia is deployed in the US, at least, it's just pretty much racism. Yeah. Like the silly thing is that I don't like Israel's oppression and murder of fellow Semites, but that is ignored by Western media. Palestinians who are Semites are invaders stealing the land and need to be killed. What the fuck? Fuck off, US. Yeah. But systematically, like there was a lot of like restrictions and shit against people who are non-Catholic. I mean, yeah, but that's like, but it's not like there were other, like the restrictions against non-Catholics was just a code word for indigenous people. Like they're like there wasn't a real reason why like Jewish or other religions were coming to Latin America in the first place. And even then, like when people from other countries, like I guess by the time other countries were migrating to Latin America, like there weren't those same restrictions, but like yeah, like the non-Christian was just dog whistle for let's kill indigenous people, or well, not kill, but let's just well, sometimes they kill them, but it was more of converting them into Christianity. So yeah. Not say religious bigotry isn't alive and well here, but the way Islamophobia is often deployed against people who look Middle Eastern show it's mostly just racism. Yeah. The pro-Zionists own the anti-Semitic word and they define it how it's used here. I mean, yeah, yeah. Here in the U.S., the fact that most Latin American people are super Christians does not save them from American racism. Yeah. hmm Anyone non-Jewish was the trigger word problem, but they really targeted Palestinians after Catholicism and Coptic Christians were kicked the fuck out. Interesting. I didn't know that. But yeah, it's wild. Also, okay, random tangent. So like Pokemon released random tangent. Pokemon released a game last year called Pokemon Legends Arceus, and apparently it's like a commentary on religion. And there are these two like camps where there's the Diamond and the Pearl camp, and they both think that their god is real and the other god is not. And it turns out both gods are real, and when the heads of each of the camps see that both gods are real, they are like, oh my god, we can be friends now. And I'm like, you could have always been friends. It doesn't matter. Pokemon exist. So yeah. But don't play it. It's bad. But also if you are going to play it, just give it to me. Thank you. Bye. Why I have not played it? Because it's a bad game. Well, it's not a bad game. It's a good game, but it's a bad game in this within the Pokemon standards. Okay. The graphics in that game are terrible. Look. I like okay. Another side tangent from the tangent. Literally the last week, I've been watching a lot of reviews of Pokemon Violet, Scarlet, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus, and I've been literally crying because the games are so fucking bad. And obviously, I will never play them because I'm poor and I don't have a Switch. And if I can't afford a Switch, I will less even be able to afford a fucking Pokemon game. But like it is just like heartbreaking because as a long-time Pokemon fan, like I feel insulted when people are like, oh my god, I know the 150. I'm like, bitch, there are literally more than 1,000 right now. 150 is a fucking child's game. Buy. Faker poser, I don't care. So like as a Pokemon fan, as a Poke fan, if you will, like it just hurts that Game Freak is being made to develop bad games, and it's even more soul crushing knowing that it is all because of capitalism, because obviously the market is pushing this level of titles to release games yearly, and Game Freak just doesn't have the fucking time to do that, so they cut a lot of shit from the games and end up making them horrible, and it's just heartbreaking because it's like, why? But yeah, fun. Okay. I mean, like there are some Palestinians and Syrians who migrated to Chile in the 19th century. Ooh, I didn't know that. And as far as I know, most of them were Christian, non-Catholic, but some probably were not. And I've heard one or two totally voluntary conversations with signs that kind of says. Interesting. Interesting. As you said that, like, don't fucking like when a person tells me, "Oh my god, I love Pokemon," and I'm like, I'm listening, and then they say, "I know the 150." I'm like, Let's legalize weapons. Let's legalize guns, and I need one right now. Like, I literally knew 495 Pokemon by the time I was 7 years fucking old. When grown-ass 20, 30-year-olds tell me, oh my god, I know 150. You don't like Pokemon. You just happen to like the anime once when you're a fucking child. So don't lie to me. Fine. I don't know what happened there. I'm old. I know. But just don't tell me you love Pokemon because you don't love Pokemon. Are you crying every time you remember that Ash didn't win in the finals of the Sinnoh Championship? No? Exactly. Like, the anime literally had to create a character with legendary Pokemon in order to beat Ash because his Pokemon were so fucking OP that there was no fucking way that anyone could win unless they had fucking legendary Pokemon. And the anime people were like, you know what? Let's just make fucking legendary Pokemon part of this trainers team. And they fucking did, and they made Ash lose, and I was like, the Satoshi. And that's why I have this tattoo. Wait, I cannot show this. Okay. Bye. I said tell me like their children immediately after, and I need to kill them in Minecraft, but I'm much older than you, so understandable. I don't know, I just played Esmeralda and Rojo Fuego, also saw the anime as a kid, but I wouldn't call myself a Pokemon fan. See, thank you, I appreciate it. Like, just be fucking honest. You know? I'm more like a Digimon fan. Okay. I am also a Digimon fan. Like, I want you to tell me. I will fucking digitest you right now. So, in the 2020 remake of Digimon Adventure, in what episode did Kari's Gatomon evolve into a Jewomon? Oh, you don't know the answer? There was a remake. I'm more of a Digimon fan. See? See what I have to endure? Also, Digimon fan, pick a side. Okay, literally, most people I know, like most Pokemon fans, also like Digimon. And like, I have literally just met 2 people in my entire life that only like one of them. Like, even I have literally seen Pocket Tubers have to make clarification videos that they have nothing against Digimon. And that they actually like Digimon. Like, not to the extent of Pokemon because they are Pocket Tubers, but yeah. There are Digimon fans still. Yeah. Yeah. Like, hello? Also, what do you mean I'm 34 years old? Do you want me to show you the list of Digimon YouTubers who are literally older than you? Like, you... Okay. Let's continue.
The panel scheduled for
literally everyone leaving. Oh my god, wasn't he telling me to talk about Israel?
that day were explicitly about equating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. The first panel I went to was called New Tactics in Anti-Semitism, and I thought maybe this has something to do with the rise of the far right. Nope. This entire...
Johnny, You're making it very hard for me to continue watching your stream.
Panel was dedicated to attacking a website called the Mapping Project, a website which tracks ties that different Massachusetts institutions have to Israel. Now, even though nothing on the website is factually untrue, the panel felt so threatened by the website that one of the panelists actually said that the concept behind the Mapping Project was the exact same as the Tree of Life synagogue shooting, which was the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history.
The mapping.
Sometimes I ask myself, why people? Do you know what I mean? Like, who gave power to these people? Who gave them the authority to be in these panels? You know what I mean? And you are going to lose your shit when this video mentions who are the people going into these conferences.
Project, and I'm going to be blunt, is the same underlying conspiracy theory as the man who murdered 11 Jews in Pittsburgh.
The shooter, Robert Gregory Bowers, was a hardened neo-Nazi who obsessively posted about a made-up Jewish plot to flood white countries with immigrants. While the panel about the Mapping Project went on for about an hour, there was not a single mention of white supremacist groups on a panel called New Tactics in Anti-Semitism. The next panel I went to was dedicated solely to whether or not criticism of Israel can be differentiated from anti-Semitism. On this panel, the moderator came up with all kinds of scenarios where the panelists were supposed to decide whether certain criticisms of Israel were anti-Semitic.
Is it outright anti-Semitic in Peru? Not that I know of. Not that I can think of. Like, that's the thing, anti-Semitism is not like a big thing here. Like, I'm sure, I mean, there are some, like, Nazi leaning at the very least politicians, but like I haven't heard them overtly say anything anti-Semite or anti-Semitic. But yeah, you know, like it wouldn't surprise me, but it's like one party out of our 20. So yeah.
Or
hard right Western groups are in fact getting on board with Zionism. I mean, that's the thing, like some Nazis support, or some neo-Nazis support Israel because they don't want Jewish people around them. They want Jewish people to either be killed or stay in their own place. And if that place happens to be Israel, so that Jewish people won't populate the world, neo-Nazis are happy with that. So that's why there are some neo-Nazis that are also Zionists. So yeah. Oh my god, we love capitalism. As Islamic agenda, yeah. New right is anti-UN, but that mostly translates to anti-LGBT migrants coming. Yeah, literally. Same.
Legitimate. So is it possible to not be anti-Semitic while criticizing Israel? Apparently not. Every single scenario presented to the panelists was called anti-Semitic. And while I could go through each of the different scenarios, the most memorable was that opposing weapons transfers to Israel was anti-Semitic because...
What do these people want? More dead Jews?
I'm sure to most of you it's clear that this is ridiculous, but part of the problem is that this conference was explicitly targeted at middle school and high school students who got in for free.
Our goal is to prepare our children before they ever get to the college campus on how to deal with anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism.
In practice, this meant that you had incredibly young people who are highly impressionable hearing this completely biased definition of anti-Semitism from people they saw as absolute authorities. One of the biggest issues in the ADL's eyes was that certain unnamed marginalized groups have allegedly become the biggest purveyors of anti-Semitism.
Certain marginalized groups seem to be some of the biggest.
Okay. I'm like, so like someone just came into chat screaming at me about how there were 493 Pokemon instead of 990 instead of 495. And honestly, true though, but also you don't literally have to create an entire account to tell me that. Okay, thank you, bye.
Offenders of anti-Semitism.
Like, like, was I wrong? Yes. And I'll take it, and I'll accept that I was wrong. I was 2 Pokemons off, and honestly, that is truly offensive, even for me. Like, how dare myself say 495 when there were 493? But also, you don't have to create an entire account for that. Like, I will take the criticism. Some Nazis were also ultra Christians, so they believed that the rapture will kill everyone but them, especially Jewish. The U will happen, absolute fuckwits, and they will also go to heaven. Oh my god. And of course, some of the Abrahamic values of Zionism are in accord with the fascistic agenda, particularly. Oh my god. No one cares how many Pokemon there are, even the depths. Wow. I might need to ban you, red wine.
People don't want to talk about that.
And what's really sad is that so many other minority groups have joined this bandwagon, that a lot of the national anti-Israel organizations have made it their cause for the last 20 years to equate the Palestinian problem with the problems of racism in this country. It is not a racial conflict. And those kinds of equations are just stupid,
right,
and they don't belong on campus.
The implication that black people are somehow the face of anti-Semitism has been a consistent theme throughout the history of the ADL. In 2019, the ADL smeared Ilhan Omar as an anti-Semite for tweeting out that the American Israel Political Affairs Committee donating to politicians might have an impact on their positions on Israel. In 2018, the ADL led a campaign.
I mean, also, Ilhan Omar voted to give money to Israel, so like, it doesn't really matter. You know, like, if we're going to talk about any congressperson on supporting Israel, on supporting Palestine, I would personally at least pick Rashida Tlaib, who has been arguably the only consistent congressperson supporting Palestine, you know, but sure, go off. Like, it, like, whatever. Married her. Oh my god, what the fuck?
Campaign against then CNN commentator Mark Lamont Hill for saying "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," which the ADL said was a coded message that secretly meant that Hill wanted to destroy the state of Israel. The ADL campaign got Hill fired from CNN. Going back to the 1980s, the ADL blocked.
This is so fucked up. And you know what? The most fucked up part of all of this, like, this, like, Zionist sentiment spreads even to like the lowest tiers of mainstream media, and not even like mainstream media, because like a couple of months ago, it wasn't it like breakthrough news. There was someone who wanted to make Katie Katie Helper. She wanted to make this like segment for the Hills Rising, and they literally fired her over this, and she was basically like, because alleged, like supposedly they banned you if you talk about Israel or Zionism or anti-Zionism in the segment, and it's like you're supposed to be an independent news outlet who is like supposedly open to um both sides, and the fact that you are like firing her. Did you know? I didn't know she was a stand-up comedian. Interesting. That explains a lot. And not about like her politics, but like more of like sometimes the tone of how she talks. But yeah. They buried Jeremy Corbyn as well, as long as with Imperial Blairite left. Interesting.
Anti-racist school curricula prepared by the
her mannerisms. It's like interesting. Everything is connecting.
National Anti-Klan Network because they deemed it too radical. And in 1967, the
What do you mean an anti-Klan network is too radical? Hello? Okay.
which the ADL said was a coded message that secretly meant that Hill wanted to destroy the state of Israel. The ADL campaign got Hill fired from CNN. Going back to the 1980s, the ADL blocked anti-racist school curricula prepared by the National Anti-Klan Network because they deemed it too radical. And in 1967, the ADL compared the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee to a black version of the KKK because of its support for Palestine. To this day, the ADL still conditions its support for black lives.
It's like the length white people are willing to go in order to say white racism, which doesn't exist, is just as bad as black racism. And it's like, stop. You know?
Liberation movements on whether or not they support Israel. In 2016, the ADL denounced the Black Lives Matter movement after BLM released a policy platform criticizing Israel. Despite releasing multiple statements condemning the murder of George Floyd, the ADL will never tell you that they're one of the largest non-governmental sponsors of police exchanges between the United States and Israel, where repressive policing tactics are exchanged. So it really comes as no surprise that there's been a historically instinctive solidarity between anti-racist and Palestinian protesters facing off against tear gas and repression. Historically, white Europeans have always been the main purveyors of anti-Semitism, not black people. But for an organization—
No way! Europeans were the baddies all along? Oh, I'm shocked.
Hell-bent on blurring the connection between the Palestinian struggle and the struggle of other oppressed nationalities, the long history of black Palestinian solidarity constitutes a tremendous threat. This strong support for Palestine among oppressed nationalities is also why there's so many white nationalists who, despite their vicious anti-Semitism, support Israel. Richard Spencer, who famously sig-heiled Trump's 2016 presidential victory, is actually an outspoken supporter of Israel. Why? Because, in his own words, Israel resembles the type of white-only ethno-state he wants to create in the US. Israel is a two-tiered legal system. One set of—
This is a new one. That Nazis like Israel because that resembles the ideal white supremacist nation that they want. And that is like... interesting. Interesting. We're fine. We are fine. is what they are seeking. Interesting. Yeah, it's like, wow. Nothing to see here. What do you mean the civilized modern whites weren't the heroes of the movie? Oh my god.
Rule for Jews and another for Arabs. Israel has Jewish-only roads and Jewish-only schools. Jews have one type of ID while Arabs have another. Israelis are free to travel anywhere in Palestine, whereas Arabs are forced to apply for travel permits and endure brutal and humiliating checkpoints. The legal system also fosters a deeply racist mentality towards Arabs. Polls show that about half of Israeli high schoolers don't think Arabs
Yeah, this is why I don't talk about Israel. Because it's just fucked up. like you all know this. Well, like, yeah. Why Israel and not like Sweden or Norway? Oh my god. They say it about those countries too. Fair. Israel is the South Africa they want for the world, and they still might get it. Red wine. Oh, you're going to regret saying that. They praise Japan for similar reasons. Oh my god, I didn't know that. Because the slaves are indigenous, which makes them more barbaric and they need to be controlled. Oh my god.
Arabs should have the right to vote. Another poll showed that almost half of Israeli Jews don't want Arabs teaching their kids. It's basically an Israeli version of Jim Crow. After publishing a video titled 10 Reasons I Hate the Jews, Gavin McInnes, founder of the Proud Boys, declared that he likes Israel as, quote, more than a friend, and that they should stop apologizing for everything, like their immigration policy. Israel's immigration policy towards non
Yo, nadie puede ser peor que los gringos. Ciudadanos israelitas. Calmao. Oh my god. Calmao. He said, me. No one could be worse than white people. Israelites. Just look at us. Oh my god.
Jews is incredibly harsh, especially towards Africans. In 2015, Israel passed a law that would require non-Jewish African migrants to either leave Israel or go to prison. And Israeli politicians often liken African migrants to a cancer on Israeli society. Even Jonathan Greenblatt himself, for all the lip service he gives about opposing Trump's racism, was happy to accept the Trump administration's invitation to see the U.S. Embassy to Israel move from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. White supremacists correctly see Israel as a racist Jewish supremacist state. They celebrate the European colonization of Palestine for the same reason they celebrate Europe's conquest of the Americas. And they admire the way the state of Israel has made the indigenous Arabs a subjugated class on their own land. But for the ADL, supporting a country admired by white supremacists for being a model ethno-state is apparent.
Like, what is the most like horrifically mind-blowing part of all of this is that the ADL made an entire event on basically how to be a Zionist for children. And it's like, but there is no propaganda in the US. Does anyone know if children still have to like pay respect to the flag every day in school or something? That is fucked up. Like, that is literally Nazi shit. I mean, that is literally US shit that the Nazi state took. But the US decided to keep. After the Nazis were doing it.
Not a contradiction. Likewise, Israel's consistent support for white supremacist ethnostates also didn't seem to register as a cause for concern for the self-proclaimed anti-Semitism watchdog. Israel was one of the few countries in the world to recognize the legitimacy of apartheid South Africa. Initially, Israel was hostile towards South Africa because so many leading figures in the South African government supported the Nazis. But it eventually got over it as Israel realized that it had far more in common with South Africa as a fellow apartheid state than they had differences.
You are a Nazi. Oh, but you're also a white supremacist? Oh my god, friends. What do you mean? No. Like, the fact that they cared more about the fact that they were a white supremacist ethno-state or apartheid state than the fact that they were literally Nazis.
The two countries signed a secret agreement in 1975 to exchange weapons when both countries were under international arms embargoes for their violations of international law. While Israel went to great lengths to try to...
I mean, yeah, your schools are indoctrinating you, but they are not indoctrinating people in the way that they say that they are. In our after-school room, there are all the flags of the world. That is nice. Mark's son of a rabbi and trained rabbi, well, he's anti-Semitic regarding Zionists. Oh my god. I'm also happy for people to rob Russia, just to be clear. Fuck the people of World War III. Oh my god.
Cover up this relationship, recently uncovered documents indicate that Israel offered to sell apartheid South Africa nuclear weapons. It's widely believed that the 1979 Vila incident, where US satellites detected an explosion off of South Africa's coast, was actually a joint Israeli-South African nuclear weapons test. While the US government's official story was that the explosion was possibly a meteorite hitting the Earth, several nuclear scientists...
But you have a Jewish ethno-state working alongside with a white supremacist Nazi-led apartheid state, and the US is defending them. But are we surprised?
And U.S. intelligence agents said the commission investigating the explosion was set up to arrive at a non-nuclear explanation so the U.S. wouldn't have to sanction Israel for violating the Limited Test Ban Treaty. Israel also played a major role in arming Rhodesia, the name of a British settler colony and apartheid state that occupied present-day Zimbabwe. While Israel publicly condemned Rhodesia, privately, Israel was pouring weapons into Rhodesia in a desperate attempt to prop up the apartheid regime, which, like South Africa, couldn't buy weapons due to international sanctions. Israel gave Rhodesia the license to manufacture the infamous Israeli Uzi submachine gun, which Rhodesians renamed the Ruzi, and exclusively sold it to its white citizens. Israel also used private companies to hide sales of Bell 205 helicopters to Rhodesia, using apartheid South Africa as a supply route. These helicopters, which were being converted into gunships, were the single most important weapon in the Rhodesian government's war against African liberation fighters, and it was Israel who helped them acquire them. Today, Israel still helps give cover to white supremacists outside of its own territory. In December, Israel welcomed a delegation from the Ukrainian Azov Battalion, a special forces detachment in the Ukrainian military most...
Okay. Isn't it wild how much Israel is continuously supporting Nazi groups? Like, one would think they just wouldn't do that. You know, like, one would think that, oh yeah, Jewish people, no, they wouldn't support Nazis, right? I don't know. You tell Israel that. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like, this is like the thing that shouldn't happen. Like this is like the hard line that, yeah, Jewish people shouldn't support Nazis because, like, you know, the Holocaust. But Israel was like, yeah, but like they are also white supremacists like us, so like maybe we should support them. What do you mean? You at least have to pretend that you are not supporting Nazis. Like, at least not make it so fucking obvious, you know? Like, at least, like, give the money or the weapons to the US and then the US gives them to the... But don't, like, literally give them, like, oh my god. But how could Zelensky support Nazis? He's Jewish. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, I literally get so tired of that. Like, oh, how could you say there are Nazis in Ukraine if the head of state is a Jewish person? And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, Hitler wanted like a pure Aryan ethno state. Turns out he wasn't even Aryan and pure by his own fucking definition. Like, what do you mean? Like, Biden is not a neo-Nazi, and yet there are neo-Nazis in the US. Like, I don't understand. What do you mean just because the head of state is Jewish, there are not going to be Nazis? Like, I hate liberals. Dude, I hate liberals. Heard about the 7,500 anarchists that fled to France when Franco marched on Madrid, thinking it would fall in institute for 2 years after the fall of France, and they were gassed by... Oh my god, I didn't know that. Damn. See, here's the thing. The more Jewish people outside of Israel feel persecuted, the more welcoming Israel looks. Israel looks to those persecuted, the more people Israel has to expand their illegal settlements, the stronger Israel is to disrupt the region as forward operations hub for the US. I mean, I was just going to be like, I mean, they are all white supremacists, like, it makes sense, but like, you are actually explaining and making make sense. Interesting. So it's literally selling out Ukraine to the highest bidder is the icing of the cake. Like, that is truly like the cherry on top of the fucking cake. Like, it is so fucked up how, if you dare to have a nuanced view on the Russian military operation, you are called, oh, so you want Ukrainians to die? And it's like, no, I don't want Ukrainians to die, actually. That's why I don't support Zelensky, who is actually letting Ukrainians die. The president of the country is actually letting them die. Like, are you not like living in the same reality? Zionism is compatible with Nazis as long as they keep to their own ethno states. They don't care when they hate each other. Fair. My mom said that. What did your mom say? I think they're probably used to the Germans as wardens. Interesting. The best predicator. Also, hi ATS, welcome. Of becoming a school bully is being bullied at school. That's got some resonance with Israel's fascism, if you ask me. Interesting. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true. But yeah, I do like get the, yeah, trauma instigates trauma. uh okay, red wine and Monsieur, please stop. Like, take it to the DMs if you want, but like, I don't even know what you are both talking about at this point. I'm just literally confused. I've been trying to just ignore it, but you are both continuing, and I'm like, just confused. So, if you have like a disagreement, hash it out in your whispers DMs. Thank you. We don't use any words for vagina in a derogatory manner here, Yeah. Like this, and knowing there are people who see this and be like, I stand with Israel. Like it is fucking wild. It is like, what truly bothers me is when you are an anti-Zionist and people call you a Nazi, and it's like Israel has literally been supporting Nazis all its history. Like, make it make sense.
Known for its support for Nazism. The insignia of the Azov Battalion is the Wolfsangel, an ancient European symbol most notably appropriated by the Nazis. Several divisions of the Waffen-SS used the Wolfsangel as a...
Any country that needs armored bulldozers for tearing down people's homes shouldn't exist, in my opinion. I would never agree to such statement because we do not promote any kind of violence here, but like... Look, Twitch is weird, okay?
logo. An earlier version of the Azov logo featured an even more overtly white supremacist symbol, the Sonnenrad, or Black Sun. The Sonnenrad was also appropriated and used by Nazis, and today is a symbol widely used by neo-Nazi groups. Peyton Gendron, the white supremacist murderer who carried out a mass shooting targeting black people in Buffalo, New York, wore this symbol in a photo he took of himself while wearing a tactical vest. The symbol also appeared on the cover of the Christchurch Shooters Manifesto, titled The Great Replacement. Ironically, both of these symbols are identified as anti-Semitic hate symbols on the ADL's website. Despite the fact that you can find dozens of images online of members of the Azov Battalion waving swastikas and throwing up the Sig Heil salute, Israeli politicians...
I was going to say for a second, I cannot imagine tattooing a political symbol, but also I would make myself a tattoo of the hammer and sickle. So I'm like, but like seeing like a fucking Nazi symbol tattooed on someone, it's like, scared shit. It's a minefield, truly. You're probably a better link for non-Russian, non-US imperial news on Ukraine than most anyone else I interact with. At your leisure, can I get some of that in Discord? Yeah. I mean, like if you go up in general, there is a link of a black socialist US organization explaining all the stuff about Ukraine. I think if you just look up Ukraine, you can find a link. But yeah, bother me on Discord whenever you want. Shouldn't you be careful with swastikas and other Nazi symbols on Twitch? I don't think so, but Technically, a contract can be solved with a stroke of a pen. Violence wouldn't necessarily be required, of course, that's unlikely, but I've got links, but I wouldn't define my resources as anti-Russian. Interesting. Probably, but context is always key. Educational, informative content is key. Yeah. This is sent with the... Oh my god.
And soldiers happily met with these anti-Semites. Since the war in Ukraine began, Western governments and media outlets have been working overtime to downplay the Azov Battalion's clear ties to Nazism. Instead of condemning the Western media's attempt...
I mean, that's the thing. Okay, from what I know, people have... I mean, like, that's... Okay, real talk. The thing about Twitch is that most times that I've heard of anyone being banned from Twitch, it wasn't Twitch that like magically banned them, but rather it was people being brigaded by reactionaries, and those reactionaries mass reporting them. So like that's why I'm like not as concerned with some of like what I show on my stream in like the more like borderline TOS shit. Like, of course, I'm not going to show nudity or, you know, any overt violence, but like symbols and that stuff. Like, yeah, like I feel like I have a small enough stream that it won't really matter. But yeah. I saw a lady with a black sun color. Me like getting scared automatically in the subway the other day, and was like, maybe she doesn't know, but then I saw her jacket and it had Gothic font letters, and I was like, oh fuck, scary. It's scary shit. It's policy improvement. People at the mass reports are saying, yeah, I mean, yeah, literally, like I have like I don't know of anyone in Twitch politics that got banned, and the reason they got banned wasn't because that person's community mass reported them. So yeah, you know, and for the most part, like Twitch's copyright policy. So like Twitch, it's like kind of weird how they are able to protect streamers, because the reason your bot gets muted is so the third-party copyright system doesn't report you, basically. So Twitch will like scan it for itself, will mute the bot, and then when or if the third actual copyright thing scans your bot, you won't get reported or sued, basically. So yeah, you know, like I still I tend to be not that lax about music. Like if I play any copyright music, I will try to do like obscure / K-pop in at the beginning of the stream. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter that it's in the beginning, but it's still like I'd rather mute like the first 10 minutes of the starting screen. But yeah, it nullifies DMCA strikes by muting. Yeah. So it's like weird to me when people are like scared of listening to music, because it's like, I mean, your bot is just going to get muted, you know, and it's not like the entire bot gets muted. It's just that part is like a couple of seconds before and after, but you know, yeah.
To whitewash the Azov Battalion, the ADL obediently followed this trend by rewriting its own understanding of the battalion. Until recently, the ADL correctly recognized Azov's far-right tendencies and wrote a report that included details of its ties to fascist groups in America. But in December, the ADL responded to a hate incident reported by the Gray Zone to the ADL, in which a member of the Azov Battalion who donned the supremacist Sonnenrad tattoo was hosted and honored at a Pentagon-funded sports competition. Instead of condemning the competition for hosting a Nazi, the ADL responded 60 days after the inquiry, saying that the Azov Battalion was actually no longer an anti-Semitic organization. Try telling that to the Azov guy with a Nazi tattoo. Anti-war activists have repeatedly warned that.
I'm like, do people who support Ukraine, because if you truly supported Ukraine or the Ukrainian people, you wouldn't be like kissing the ass of Zelensky. But like, do people who support Ukraine not know this shit? Like, I know there are some people who are like so far up to Zelensky's ass that they just deny the fact that the Azov Battalion are fucking Nazis, even though they have Nazi imagery all over them. But like, like, they truly don't give a fuck. Like, they truly just want to put a fucking flag in their Twitter username. Be like, oh my god, I'm so woke, even though woke is whatever. This is why I like covering China, because China good actually. They stopped being Nazis last February. This is when we ignore the liberals, we are fucked, yeah. They look past it or say they don't make up the majority of their military. And that is like, they are still there. So if he turns up in army getup to ask for tanks, tanks come. He already asked for nukes. Next time will be planes, then nukes again. So he's such a piece of shit. And he truly is. Cause like so many people like it is so fucked up that the Ukraine shit could have just never happened. Like Russia and Ukraine could just be in peace and just have the historical friendship that they've had, and it's so frustrating to me when you are clearly and factually pointing out how NATO intervened, how the US intervened into all of this mess. And people just, and US people have this like inherent defensive, this inherent reflection, this like, how do I call it? This inherent reaction to just defend the US. And it's like, bruh, your country is literally killing Latina people in the border, killing black people on the daily, have indigenous people in concentration camps, is have houseless people in concentration camps, have developed no fucking protections for queer people, and you think somehow your country is good? And on top of that, I am telling you that your country is doing so much fucking shit, not just inside and within the borders of your country, but literally outside your country. And it's like killing people in the most overt, gruesome, horrible ways. And you just cannot fathom that that is just a reality. And it is just wild to me. And I get it. I get the fact that people in the US have just grown up in propaganda, and that just is the nature of how the brainwashing has gone on for so long in the US. But at the same time, it gets to a point where shit is so real that I just cannot fathom how people just want to hold to their white supremacy, because ultimately that is what it is. Their white supremacy, their imperialism, their superiority complex, again, aka whiteness, aka white supremacy, that they just don't want to accept the fact that the US is a horrible country. And you have leftists who still cling to this white supremacy in the form of, yeah, the US is bad, but China is bad. Yeah, the US is bad, but Russia is also bad. And it's like, nor Russia, nor China, nor literally any other country in the entire world, except for maybe
Sorry, that was a real soapbox.
Germany,
Why did I say
in
sorry?
the UK, in France, maybe in Spain. Thank you for the sub. And maybe like certain countries in Europe have done these horrible, these like disgusting, like I literally don't even know how to describe it. This much of like destruction to humanity, to the world, to the planet, to like, do you know what I mean? It's like I cannot comprehend how much propaganda could exist in a country for people to be this brainwashed. Do you know what I mean? Because like I know, like in theory, that is how propaganda works, right? But like it gets to a point where I'm like, it is literally incomprehensible for me. Because I'm an outsider, right? And I just cannot comprehend, but it is stunningly scared. It is stunningly scary for me to think about how brainwashed people in the US are. And it's even more fucked up because then these motherfuckers will say that, oh, North Koreans are brainwashed, Chinese people are brainwashed, and I'm like, have you seen yourself in the fucking mirror? Like, also, okay. So it's gonna be military. I also do think that every Ukrainian fighting is like the straight up Nazi tat fash, but I do think there's some more than there should be. Oh, I get it. Like that's the thing. Like I'm sure there are a lot, if not most, of the people fighting on the side of Ukraine that are like genuinely thinking that Russia is attacking Ukraine with no reason and that they are defending their country. But it is so fucked up because at the end of the day, it is just It is literally a war manufactured by NATO to basically kill Ukrainian people. Like, it is just sad. I'm sure these Nazis won't use all this training and gear and they aren't getting for anything but in the future. And like, and it's so horrible how people like don't even care to think about this, care to think about that, right? Like, they think, oh, we're just giving the US is just giving weapons to Ukraine, and it's just going to be defending themselves from Russia, and nothing is going to happen in the future. And it's like, what do you think will happen to those weapons? Nuance is hard, yeah. Zelensky is a military-industrial coalition, and they fucking bad. When they did the early 20th century, we didn't have a war destroying weapons, for fuck's sake. True. Like the US made sure that there were people that made it into leadership that would take advantage of hostility that was there long before 2014. Oh my god, don't even get me started on 2014. Because like that shit was literally being prepared since arguably 2008. Well, I'm not sure if it was 2008. I think it was 2012. But don't quote me because I'm horrible at years. But like that shit was being prepared in fucking advance. Like fucking years. There's a reason why Ukraine is one of the SSRs that spearheaded to the vote to dissolve. And that's the worst part. Just like, it's not that like, I hate how like people sometimes paint like the dissolution of the USSR like the countries finally liberated themselves from Russia, and it's like, one, all the countries part of the USSR were voluntarily there, and two, the reason why a nationalist sentiment grew in all of these countries was literally because Nazis infiltrated these countries. So if you are happy that these countries separated from Russia, that you are literally supporting Nazi-led movements. Well, Nazi infiltrated at the very least. What worried me was that Russian Putin said surrender, and they said no, but Putin let them live. Fuck that. You gave them the only choice that matters. Oh my god, so bad. How about that? It's just escape punishment. I blame Clinton, as Secretary of State under Obama, for putting a base in Crimea, for stating the escalation. It was a damn Cuban Missile Crisis in reverse. It truly was, like, massive casualties of prisoners that can be put on trial to admit war crimes. True. The entire West is like that, just fading empires, their colonial lapdogs keeping hand in hand towards apocalypse, leaving a trial of devastation in their wake. Also, sorry that I'm pretty behind on chat, but I do want to read it all because I was just ranting. I don't support Ukraine. I do not support Russia. My heart is and will always be there with the military-industrial complex. Oh my god. Also, hi, Folkers Yellow. Welcome. And welcome back, Tony. You really have to experience it under how pervasive the propaganda is in this country. They indoctrinate us pretty much from the day we're born until the day we're dead. Damn. Also, welcome, Salty Kami. I know you came for the raid, but hi. I remember watching one of the Trump-Biden presidential debates and them going through international politics and talking about how much they were going to stop China or whatever. And I was so angry, like, how can it be normal to talk about the other country as if it was one more issue like healthcare or truly of pavimenting roads, truly. And you know what's the worst part of all? They literally care more about like screaming about how China bad than actually implementing any healthcare at all or pavimented roads. Like, there is literally an entire section of TikTok of people like recording themselves and how the roads just end in the middle of nowhere and that is the US. Like, great. It's going to go from genocidal war crime to PR exercise within a time scale they decide to our brave independent journalists will suck cock fabulously. Yeah. And it is interesting because like a couple of weeks ago I was watching I don't know who, and someone mentioned how in 10 years there will be like sociology or I don't know who majors who will make like essays about how liberals became pro-war in 2022, and I'm like, when were they anti-war though? We invented the selfie. What do what do we need mirrors for? Oh my god. I accidentally confirmed that Crimean base with an agent by running my mouth at DC food service job. Oh my god. US nukes and all. Haha. Haha. Literally in every show movie there are pro CIA narratives, like even cartoons children's movie that I watch with my kids gets me heated. Damn. I feel you, Sam.
Sorry, that was a real soapbox.
No, oh
Why
my
did I
God,
say sorry?
Brian, thank you.
Бриан Си-84 just subscribed. Сепстхи, 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 сепстхи.
Thank you for resubscribing, Brian. Also, I feel so bad because I feel like I am like I promise I will stream more often, but I literally every other stream you're resubscribing and I feel bad, so I will stream more. I'm just depressed. If I'm fighting alongside Nazis, understand I would kill. Oh my god. I think invading a country and giving a nation a common real enemy does not help to reduce ultranationalist sentiments. The United States is a giant arms dealer. Absolutely manufactured by NATO, there are likely fairly normal Ukrainians fighting right now, and to think that they'll get to join NATO in Ukraine will be like Germany or France. Oh my god, that like honestly, that is almost sadder than the fact that they are probably going to die, because it's like they have literally brainwashed into this like Europe is this like ideal top of the food chain like thing to reach and to be part of, and it's like it literally doesn't matter. Like in the grand scheme of things, literally no one cares if you are part of the European Union of or NATO, you know? And, it's great to see you live. Thank you. Thank you. No, but yeah, I feel bad that I don't stream more often. Cause like there was a time that I literally used to stream like 5 days a week, and now I stream twice a month, and I really want to stream more, but like it is fucked up because I never expected like that I never expected that being harassed by other streamers would affect me wanting to stream or being able to stream. And oh my god, I don't want to cry, but yeah, it is fucked up. And but I love streaming and I love talking about politics with all of you, but you know, white people, and that's the worst part of all. Like it's not even like these people are still like out there streaming talking about like leftism and anti-racism, and it's like there was so much underlying racism under the actions that they did, you know, and it's like disappointing, sad, disgusting. But yeah. When I was in high school a million years ago, they had a CIA asset, I mean State Department official, come to our school impersonating a diplomat from the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic in an attempt to make us hate communists even more than we already did. Oh my god. USA used all negotiations to reach this point. Literally. literally in fucking like some group of Congress, not even Congress people, but I don't know who, like made a fucking paper saying, "Hey, we should have peace," and everyone was like, "Wow, how dare you want peace?" And it's like, hello. Like it was the CPC paper, like Caucus of Progressives or something like that. Fucked up shit. The illegal dissolution of the Soviet Union. Oh my god, don't even get me started on that. More evidence the Nazis actually won World War II. True. Like the saddest part of World War II truly is like how many Soviet people died in that war? Like 20 fucking million? And like no one cares about that. Well, no one in the imperial core Western / white people, but like you know what I mean? Like, and the US literally gave all fucking ed Nazis 27 million, thank you. And the US literally gave all ex Nazi like leaders positions of power in NATO, in the fucking FBI, in CIA, and it's like motherfuckers brainwashing. Germany lost, the Nazis won, literally. Banderites from Canada played a big part in that, true. When the Soviet state dissolved, economies were destroyed, suicide rates rose. Oh my god, don't even get me started on I don't know if they're still here, but Subversive History, we're talking about like the Soviet Union a couple of days ago, and like the stats. I don't remember if it was from Black Shirts and Reds or it was another thing, but they were talking about the Soviet Union and the stats from the Soviet Union after it got dissolved. They were just depressing because it truly showed how much better things were under the Soviet Union. Like, even in those last few Gorbachev years, things were still way better than when Yeltsin came to power, than when the USSR, like, came to an end, and God. Like, and it's even more infuriating because people talk shit about the USSR. Motherfucker, like, people were literally just trying their best to make people happy, to like not to make things better for the working class, and were there a ton of fucking mistakes done along the way? Yes, but you know what? Overall, those mistakes like are nothing in comparison in to all the benefits and progress that they managed to make, especially when you compare it to what all the fucking capitalist countries in the world have been always doing to its working class, which is fucking killing them. Okay. Also, don't get me started on Stalin's 36 constitution. Motherfuckers call themselves feminists and shit on Stalin. Read the fucking constitution and come back. Okay, sorry. Kinda bad, never forget. They say Marxists are the ones indoctrinating the youth. I wish. The average person fighting in this conflict right now was likely not alive for the tail end of the Soviet Union. Things near the end were just significantly better than they were right now in the US, but not everyone is going to remember it fondly, and I'm sure that the older generations looks back on the USSR fondly. Oh my god. It's like when there are like those interviews on the streets of like ex-Soviet Union, ex-Soviets, right? Or ex people who used to live in the Soviet Union, and like the older people are the ones who get like the most passionate about speaking about that because they got like the best of it, you know? Like, I mean, arguably Khrushchev and Brezhnev weren't even the best, but it was like enough developed at that point that it was fairly good, you know? And it's just fucking sad. Like, it fucking sucks, you know? Like, people were given free education, they were given jobs, they were given food, like, they were given housing, but Stalin bad. This is why I don't talk about the Soviet Union anymore either, because then I cry. uh, but yeah, gotta keep in mind that not everyone in Ukraine will look at Banderites Nazis as the bad guys. Yeah. Now the German tanks once more head to the east, another Western European imperial project doomed by in its arrogance. True, the US is range of honor from things escalating in similar fashion in Taiwan, like Putin carriers. Yeah. Like, oh my god. I don't know why lately I've been hearing so many people saying Taiwan is a country, and I'm like, bye. Like, legally, the US not like doesn't even recognize Taiwan as a country. Like, I don't care what Biden wants to say about it. Legally, like, it is written that Taiwan is part of mainland of China. The one in the High Castle in Byron and the Third Reich never ended. True. Like, there was no real denotification in the West. There was a high Disney show about the kid who straight up was a CIA spy that provided. What the fuck? Denazification. Still streams more than Grom. I mean, Grom. I don't know if that happened to you. Hope you're feeling better now. I mean, the worst part is that happened literally a year and a half ago, and now I'm not any better. In the movies, Ron's Gone Wrong, they literally refer to the main character, grandmother, as an anti-communist, which to me translates to being pro-Nazi. True. Favorite leftist voices on Twitch? Oh my god, thank you, BBDH. I appreciate it. Thank you. Was harassed, you give me their IPs right now. I mean, I can't. Just kidding. I don't. I don't know. You seem tough, but perhaps you have too much love in your heart. This is why you will if you continue to fight them. Thank you. Oh, you will win. I'm gonna make the shiny paths look like liberals. Look. The shiny paths were liberal. Like, how do I explain to you that they were? Like, it is weird because like sometimes I think about it and it's like, I don't know, maybe the shiny paths were worse than fascists. Because like the shining path is like it isn't even the fact that they did horrible things. It's the fact that with the horrible things they did, they also promoted a lot of anti-leftist propaganda just by them doing horrible things. And it's like they just have made any leftist movement in Peru have to go through double the work that they would if the shiny path would have never existed in Peru in the first place, you know? And obviously, like, normies don't know the history, but like the shining path was like the Communist Party of Peru divided in the 40s or 50s, and it split into two parts, and one of them was the shining path, which it was just a cult. But don't tell the white MLMs that. Like, motherfuckers literally think that the Shiny Path made Peru communist or socialist at one point, and it's like, no, actually. But I'm not going to get into this. It's really nice to hear someone say all the things, the obvious things. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Um, catalepsy kills. Catalepsy kills. Catalepsy kills. Yes. That's to America and rehab for its people. Honestly, true. But I need to examine my allegiances of Nazis outside ourselves from my untrustworthy vantage point. They all bend the knee to Russian Putin, and I need to confirm or dispel for my own psychological well-being. Fair. Sorry, we wanted peace. We take it literally. That was so fucked up. Like, it was so fucked up that they took it back. It's like they literally made the most like mild, like non-aggressive, like, sorry, I will put it here because I'm just reading chat. Like the most like mild statement ever, and they took it back, and I was like, you're so fucking weak. 3 times as often as Grom does nowadays. Oh my god. It's Congressional Progressive Caucus. They withdrew it in less than 24 hours. Fucked up. Talking about the 20 billion that China lost. True. I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about like in the war? Are we talking about like the 20 million that were like landowners that Mao killed? Or like, because like there are like many things happen in China. Like Mao has a pretty high death count. It's not that he wasn't killing the wrong people, but just saying, China, Mao is complicated. You want a good example of propaganda got exposed you to use two words, Red Dawn, insanely stupid piece of anti-communist propaganda we Americans love. I have never heard of Red Dawn. The more Chinese died fighting the Japanese. Oh, interesting. Got it. Thank you. I was like, what are you talking about? Got it. China was Japan's number one enemy, not the US. True. Do you know what the worst part? Like, Japan was wild back then. Japan was like literally attacking every fucking one. Was attacking Korea, Russia, China, and I would name more, but those are literally the only countries they had next to. Like, I mean, they fucking attacked the US. They were like, okay, we're attacking everyone to our west who is at our east. Okay, the US bomb them, and it's like, bruh. I mean, that doesn't justify the fact that the US literally fucking bombed them twice with nukes, but World War II, wild times. I'm not sure I think so. A Red Army Special Forces of Venezuela from an airborne attack. Interesting. I read a bit about those numbers. Interesting. They are fire. Thank you for this 2-hour video, Sam. I appreciate it. They often learn it from mistakes, unlike the United States ruling class. True. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. True. I mean, that was clearly not Lenin, but I'll take it. Fuck you. True. Absolutely. They were trying to improve things without drawing attention to the socialist principles that would enable it, and it would need to focus on shit where a smile, quality of life improvement, or warfare. I shouldn't Stalin a bit. He let Beria be alive. Beria fucking thug. True. I mean, that's the thing. Like, do I love Stalin? Yes. Was he perfect? No. Does it matter? No. He did nothing wrong. Just kidding. Like, Stalin has a lot of fucked up beliefs. Uh, but also, like when like it is weird. Well, it's not weird, but like people never ask themselves why were Russians so socially conservative, and like the answer is pretty fucking obvious when you know a little Russian history, and when you take into account that, you know, literally like the most fucking conservative tier of the Christian church went into Russia to colonize them, like whatever, convert them into Christianity. You are like, this explains a lot. Like in Latin America, most people are Christian, but it's like a very lax Christianity. Like they will still use it to justify homophobia and some shit, but it's not like to the extent that they will justify white supremacy using the Bible, like in the US, or want to kill people in the name of Jesus or whatever they do in the US. But like the section that went into Russia, into that part of Europe, was like concerningly, scarily conservative in all the social issues. And so when you take that into account, it is honestly surprising that they accepted the feminist theory that was at the time. And by they I mean like the Bolsheviks. And like it makes sense because it was a dialectical historical analysis, but at the same time it's like wild shit, you know. I'm sure the parent just posted it. Okay, I'm going to jump. Even the most extreme people in Taiwan think that they are in China, and I think the government is the legit one. True, literally. GSR was the first try while Marx was still writing Capital that was set up failure abroad, and when we learn the steps that emerge in those in response to material conditions. Yes. The GSR was absolutely not formulated while Marx was writing Capital. I don't think they were talking about that, but I mean, I guess technically Marx hadn't finished Capital, but yeah. How much was in your civilization? Yes, back China, Kai-shek probably killed more than Hitler. I mean, yes. Okay, if we're talking about those numbers, yes. Okay, but that's like clear silly because he was immortal. Japan Pogo, truly. Japan Pogo. Only countries that exist. Oh my god. So you say I don't understand why that happened. What was Japan thinking? I'm not sure, but also like we don't study Japan as in depth as we study Western nations. Oh my god, surprise. Wow, we don't study Asian countries. Oh my god. I'm so shocked. What's a pun in Game of? Oh my god. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Malcolm. Hi, welcome. Did you change your name? When did you change your name? I'm pretty sure we literally rated, like, I was literally in your channel a couple of days ago, and I'm sure someone greeted you as God. Yeah, we rated Josie, and she said, God damn it, Malcolm. When did you literally change your name? That's not very into an ad. Ew, disgusting. I'm rebranding because the algorithm hates the curse words. Got it. It's funny because like a K-pop group that I follow had the word damn in one of their songs, and the radio stations in Korea said that we're not we're not putting that song. It's cursing. It's like it has profanity in it. And it was just the word damn. I thought, wait, did Twice put the word fuck in a song? And no, it was the word damn. And the radio stations in Korea were like, that's profanity. And I'm like, chill. But also, yeah, follow Malcolm. Because we stand trans people. I'm trans. Oh yeah. Hi everyone. I'm non-binary, by the way. So, yeah. You don't have to be perfect, especially when you're not doing everything on your own. Worst bank robber. Then the true for sure. But Stalin didn't shoot himself in the fucking face. Okay. In Cuba, the biggest obstacle of Family Cloud was the charge. The new one, at least. True. Shout out to Silver Spoon. Okay. Thank you, Malcolm, for the raid. That is not very communist to come into an ad. People are too sensitive about it. True. It is funny because, like, I would literally say the word damn in Spanish, aka maldito, and my grandma, who used to be so fucking Christian, would literally start crying. And yeah. Like, I never felt bad about it. You know, like, when Christian people are wild. It's like, if a word is going to make you cry. I mean, she wasn't crying for real. She was like making herself the victim because, you know, toxicity and generational trauma. So like I didn't feel bad because it was clearly fake crying, but at the same time I was like, it's literally a word. But YouTube has been really tight on the algorithm with curse words, so I must comply. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. Thanks for the chat. Take care, Arctic Tech Support. You're the best, Sebs. I'll see you around. See you, Malcolm. Take care. Thank you for rating. But yeah, follow Malcolm. Cause he hosts like trans panels. Well, he hosts panels weekly or bi-weekly or every 2 weeks, and they talk about really good shit. And sometimes I'm there, just saying. But yeah. You know, also if you want sometimes like you know, sometimes we want to watch some drama. And Malcolm is a good place to watch drama. Like, for real. Do you ever play something in the Discord? No, but I think I will start. That's the thing. Like, when I stream, okay, so I play Fortnite daily. So if anyone wants to play Fortnite with me, you are welcome. But I cannot stream Fortnite on Discord because when I stream Fortnite on Discord, my mic doesn't work. But if I was able to stream Fortnite on Discord, I would play more often on Discord. But yeah. Though lately I've been playing Pokemon, but I'm not sure if people would be down to watch Pokemon. I don't know. Whatever. What point do if I was Hawaiian say the US Navy being kicked to fuck it'd be ecstatic? What? I'm so confused. But yeah, okay, let's finish why Israel bad actually. We are literally actually how long have I been I've been streaming 3 fucking hours.
Heavy weapons sent to Ukraine would inevitably end up in the hands of far-right groups like the Azov Battalion. In fact, there's a video of a Ukrainian neo-Nazi group, C-14, bragging about how they'd siphon off many of the weapons sent to Ukraine by Western countries.
Okay.
Уявіть собі, скільки у нас зброї, скільки в нас ветеранів.
No, Israel will never be good. Like, literally by definition. Literally by definition, Israel will never be able to be good.
А це є вже йдеться про те, що нові політичні альянси вже глобального рівня, нові політичні виклики.
According to the ADL's own web,
as someone who is like really trying to learn Russian, and I know he was speaking Ukrainian regardless, as someone who is really trying to learn Russian, someday I will understand some word that he said. But like, okay, so like I've spoken fork knife with Yusef. Oh my god, yes. I've spoken English all my life. Well, not all my life, but like I've been around English all my life. So when people learning English for the first time say that English speaking people speak fast, I don't get it because it's been always the same for me. But like when I listen to Russian songs or watch Russian media, I'm like, why are you talking so fast? But yeah. I like Spanish and Italian and Portuguese, right? I think so. Like, from my understanding, they are. But don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure they use literally the same exact alphabet. So yeah. Also, yeah, free Palestine. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. True.
Website. The Azov Battalion hosts white supremacist groups from around the world, including the United States, so they can fight in the Donbass.
Okay. What do you mean? I mean, it's like the Azov Battalion can literally change their uniforms to a red color with full-blown swastikas, and liberals in the US would be like, they are not Nazis. What are you talking about? Oh my god, why are you are literally a Putin puppet. Oh my god, why are you supporting Russia? And it's like, they are literally Nazis. The Azov Battalion is are literally Nazis. I'm not even pro-Russia. I think Russia should never have attacked in the first place. That doesn't mean that I will support Nazis. Thank you. Bye. Massively irrelevant, like yes, should people attacking many colonial outposts, stolen land, rightfully no defense, so also change it. Spooky is on, though for sure, very on. Oh, if you both made the Azov uniforms, oh my god, the limbs might begin to have but love some white girl accent. Oh my god. Oh my god, we stand. If they put a little swastika on them, the lips would say it's in support of Indians. Oh my god. Literally that. Oh my god. Like, I trust in my community, so I know no one here likes Tarantino, right? But when you think about like how fascism has historically just stolen like iconography from other cultures, and when you understand that Tarantino quotes who does he quote? He doesn't quote Dali, he quotes the other guy. Who is the Cubismo guy? Picasso, thank you. And when you understand that Tarantino quotes Picasso for literally ripping off entire scenes of movies just because Picasso said that, like, it is okay to steal or some shit, and then you understand that Picasso was literally a fascist. Just saying. Just saying. Picasso was a communist, or am I thinking of Dali? Because I know a lot of, there was a lot of fascism in like the Spanish surrealist movement. And so, yeah. Are you sure, Dorian? There was another fascist. Also, I mix names all the time, so don't blame me. There was another fascist. I haven't studied art history in a long time, okay? If it was like there was another Spanish fascist artist, but I don't remember. So many fascists, literally. This one was like a big anti-Semite. I don't know if I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It would make complete sense that Disney was an anti-Semite. But when people say that Disney was anti-Semite, I don't know if they're talking about like him or they're just talking about how Disney made pro-Nazi propaganda during some time, but that was just because the government was paying him to do that. So it's not like he was an anti-Semite, he was just doing what the US government was, and like he was a fucking liberal white man, so he didn't care. So I guess you could call him an anti-Semite for doing that, but I don't know if people are calling him an anti-Semite because of the animations or because he himself was an open anti-Semite. So yeah, but yeah. They have a socialist characteristics, otherwise you end up being like Ireland, technically free, but still a puppet of the British and increasingly American ruling elite. I mean, fair, you know. Wasn't what happened in Thank you for referring. Also, by the way, people should follow me on Twitter. Like a couple of days ago, someone tweeted something along the lines. Also, don't get me started on that. Like, whatever. This person tweeted, the only side you should be picking in the Russia-Ukraine conflict is the side of the proletariat. And this triggers me a lot because I understand what he's talking about, but it ends up being very just superficial. You know, like every time I see anyone say this, I'm like, what do you mean exactly? Like, if you give a nice phrase, everyone will agree, but that ain't a conflict. That ain't the conflict going on. You're picking a side of a contradiction inside a country, in a contradiction occurring at an international level. You are saying I pick the workers over the global south, plus saying that this is a capitalist conflict doesn't even make sense at this point in history with the material contradictions present. Their characterization of the military operation as Russia-Ukraine conflict is already liberal. Who do I support? It doesn't matter. I think Russia was pushed by NATO into a corner where they felt like there wasn't any other option but to go to Ukraine since it had basically become a US puppet state. I think the US just wanted a reason to sanction Russia and distance it from Western Europe, which ultimately backfired. I don't know, I'd rather have some analysis than just a phrase that's ultimately meaningless, and the same phrase is just thrown around and repeated with no context. But people don't follow me on Twitter, so it's okay. Think Russia is advancing communism by invading Ukraine. Oh my god, I fucking... It's like wild because these MAGA communists are like not like want to use like Stalin or like I'm just going to use Stalin. Want to use Stalin to justify their social conservatism, but at the same time, like Stalin was a feminist, and they are not feminists. So when you actually understand that simple reality, it's like, yeah, you're just a psyop who doesn't have any ideology or understanding of history or of the material realities of the USSR actually. So yeah, you are just a grifter. Because like feminist theory was pretty fucking advanced at the beginning of the last century, you know, and there was good analysis, and people were like, you know what, women should be free. Patriarchy bad. But yeah. It's like if a characteristic, if a charitable interpretation of that they support the affected Ukrainian civilians and the Ukrainians who are getting drafted. Nations oppressed by imperialists generally have to liberate themselves before they can resolve their internal class contradictions. The former socialist African states won independence first, the socialism later. Their exploited workers weren't ready for a socialist revolution, but were ready for a war for independence. They shouldn't have had to wait to do both at the same time. South African sanctions too. True. Is it big enough to deal with Western imperialism? It's just wishy-washy way not to deal with imperialism. Thank you, Sam. I have a Twitter comment also. I imagine you hate the fact that these cranks call themselves tanks too. Yes. Yes. I'm like if you're going to call yourself a Marxist Leninist, at least use the fucking ideology. Right? Like at least use the fucking analysis that so many fucking people took the fucking time to write. And if you're just going to dismiss that, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like Mao wrote an excellent fucking piece. I personally think on contradictions is probably the only piece of literature any revolutionary must read. Like, period. You know, like contradiction, yes. You know, I mean, you should read more, but contradiction is like the bare minimum for me personally. And it's like Mao perfectly explained what a contradiction is, like, and if they cannot see how clear the contradictions of gender exist in our current society, and they cannot comprehend that gender liberation, aka feminism, is like what we ought to do, which is again the bare fucking minimum. It's like, are you not using your noggin? Are you not like supposed to have read this? Hello? But whatever. They want the quiet. They don't think it makes up being talking about Japan, talking about harbors and talking about Hawaii, which technically it was. Did Japan care? No, it was intention. Oh, no worries. All the dipshits who want Putin to get cooked and killed seem to forget that the civil war and the nuclear power is uncharted territory. We do not want the power vacuum strife that causes. Yeah. Also, okay. When the special military operation started in Ukraine, I felt very disturbed by how freely people were using ableist terms to refer to Putin, to the point where I was almost scared to read Twitter. Because, like, people were referring to Putin in ways that it seemed that they were just foaming at the mouth to just use the R slur. And I was like, first of all, Putin up to this point hasn't done anything that all US presidents have done in their respective terms. One. So, like, Putin is not doing anything different. And two, don't use those words. Just don't use those words. You know? It's not that difficult to say that, oh, I think what Putin is doing is bad. You know, like, you don't have to call him certain words that I'm almost scared to know exist. You know? Oh my god. Technically not a socialist to begin with, but yeah. The only good contribution my communists make is that I get to see people making fun of them on Twitter. Oh my god. My eyes are getting old. Why read? Just slap a symbol on and you're good to go. Revolutionary aesthetic will tear capitalism. Oh my god. I wish. Oh my god. I hate when people define tankies and like the first thing they say it's like Soviet aesthetics and it's like, really? Does that matter to you? Just like, does that really matter? We're talking about ideology, and the first thing you have to say is, no, they use Soviet aesthetics, and it's like, who cares what aesthetics they are using? Literally, that is the last thing you should be focusing on. Like, if you're worried that there are people who are socially conservative, maybe that should be the main concern. Like, I don't know. People really started the concept of don't be shitty, it seems. Truthfully. Like, truth fucking ly. Gender is in nature in its most forms. The growth communism must be in accord with the ecological system and non-anthropogenic in approach to working with him. I literally don't understand any single word that you just said, Monsieur. But have you considered that Soviet aesthetics are cool? I mean, they are, and I don't not use them. Like, you know, like, you know, like, but at the same time, it's not like hello, I literally have Marx and Taylor Swift next to each other with a hammer and sickle. Hello, but like at the same time, like who cares? Does Cuba hat make me a tanky? Yes. Actually, a Che Guevara T-shirt makes you a tanky. Looking at a Che Guevara icon makes you a tanky. Actually. I'm so confused. What's going on? I'm just going to say, if someone ever questions like my views on anything, you can read my text up there for all my ideologies. Like, yes. It's funny when like some people come and read like abolish whiteness. I don't know what does it say? Yeah, they read abolish whiteness and they get offended, and I'm like, okay, if you get offended by reading abolish whiteness, maybe you shouldn't be here, you know? Also, I wanted to watch this second thought video, which is in his super secret channel, and there won't be time. Let's try to finish this.
Combat experience and take it home with them.
I'm just a twink trying to change some shit. Same, but I'm not a twink, sadly.
You can find tons of articles online documenting this connection, and even the US government, which has been the biggest military backer of Ukraine, was concerned about
telling white to fuck off.
White supremacists in the US traveling to Ukraine to connect with white supremacists there. Despite all of the evidence of neo-Nazis treating Ukraine like an
the culture to become white. True. Oh my god, I have a wait. Whiteness. I'm pretty sure I have it in Nightbot. Also, take care. Full course yellow. Thank you for coming. Have a good night. Wait, what's this? I was like, what's going on? Okay.
The biggest military backer of Ukraine was concerned about white supremacists in the US traveling to Ukraine to connect with white supremacists there. Despite all of the evidence of neo-Nazis treating Ukraine like an international training ground, the ADL invited a speaker from Ukraine to their conference to ask the attendees to pressure Washington to send even more weapons to Ukraine. You gotta ask yourself if it's actually beneficial to young Jews to scaremonger about this fake threat of Palestinians when there's very real anti-Semitism out there. But it's clear that this completely warped view of anti-Semitism is no accident. The ADL wants Jews to believe that the biggest threats to Jewish people are the ice cream boycott and the proliferation of Levantine history. Because if they actually had to criticize all anti-Semitism, white nationalism, and Nazism, they'd have to criticize Israel and all of its racist allies. The fact of the matter is the ADL is nothing more than a well-funded PR campaign for a rogue apartheid state that's lost all international legitimacy. The increasingly desperate rhetoric coming from the ADL reflects an increasingly desperate situation for a country trying to maintain colonialism in a world that will no longer accept it.
Fuck, I'm looking. I had a command. White man? It's okay. Any Zionist in chat? Oh my god. Hi, Paper Popper. Welcome. Okay, I am tired and I am dying. I hate you. Why do you come here late? I will try to stream tomorrow to finish today's stream. I promise. Thank you, Tony. Let's rate Hassan. Just kidding. But don't leave. You have to be here for the raid. Because I have to appear like I have a big number. uh Let's rate Amy. uh Okay. Thank you everyone so much for coming. Follow everyone who I told you to follow, and go follow Amy because she's great. She's a housing activist. Great. If you are subscribed, you can copy and paste the first message. If you are not subscribed, you can copy and paste the second message, and you paste it when we go into the other channel. And yeah, thank you, thank you, Johnny. Good night, everyone. What did you say, Tony? Yeah, hit me up in DMs. Yeah. Okay. Take care, everyone. Also, Johnny, how do I explain to you that Ben is one of the streamers? Bye.